Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Half a Clue Movie Review, where four men who lost their cocks to muscular atrophy talk about the intricacies of obscure films every week. I am, of course, your host, Blake, and I'm joined by...
Jason?
Ron.
Philip.
This week, we have a pretty fun episode. We're going to be talking about spy movies. Of course, since Black Widow is coming out, we thought this could be a fun talking point.
Dun 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 dun. No, that's James Bond.
We didn't do. We're doing Nick Fury.
We're not even talking about James Bond.
Wait.
What?
Because I wanted to introduce our movies. We're talking about Top Secret.
Oh yeah.
And can I get a drum roll from someone?
No.
We're talking about our first Marvel movie. And you might say, hey, Blake, you know, Marvel's done a lot of really great movies. Which one are you talking about? Is it
really
in fact,
long drum roll?
You could probably stop the drum roll.
Okay.
You might ask, hey, Blake, what Marvel movie are you guys talking about? Could it be the new Black Widow movie? Well, no. Could we be talking about Captain America and the Winter Soldier? That's got some spy vibes in it, right?
Couldn't be more wrong.
Well, no. We're talking about 1998's Nick Fury starring David Hasselhoff.
What the fuck? Are you really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
Did you
God.
watch that movie?
Yeah, no, I watched something. I don't really remember exactly. It was a fever dream.
I think I watched it. Did you watch it, Jason?
I fucking loved it.
Philip, did you watch it?
No comment.
Miles, did you watch it?
Yeah, I did not.
No, you're probably better off. Well, before we get into the movies, did you guys want to talk about some of the news?
Yeah. So just recently, Jensen and Daniel Ackles just announced that
Yeah, I think it's pronounced Achilles.
Ackles
And
Ackles. Okay, I'm just calling Jensen Ackles or Ackles or whatever the fuck his name is. So Dean Winchester from Supernatural announced a prequel Supernatural series focusing on John and Mary Winchester, the dead parents from dead parents of Dean and Sam.
spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the mom dies in the pilot, but
Yeah.
the dad dies like
And
season
the
2.
girlfriend, right?
Yeah, his girlfriend.
I've
dies.
seen like 2 episodes of Supernatural.
I
But
love
do they really
Supernatural.
die?
I up to
No,
a certain
never.
point, I really like Supernatural.
Yeah.
Dean Winchester will be narrating the entire series, even though that's kind of weird considering I don't know how they're going to do it, considering the end of the fucking series, which I'll get into. But what the juicy news is apparently Sam Winchester, Jared Padalecki, was not involved, and
What,
he
are you,
wasn't
Polish?
even, and he wasn't even informed of the prequel's development. He
That's
found out
what?
through Twitter.
That sucks,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah, that's
What the
pretty
fuck?
fucked up.
That's
Yeah,
such a low blow, man.
Yeah, exactly. So he sent out a tweet. He's like, "Wow, this is great, but it sucks that I had to find out from Twitter. This really gutted." And then
that's
on top
cold.
of that, he deleted the tweet, but he was like, he tweeted at the Supernatural executive producer, "Then you fucking coward!" Like Etu
Oh,
Brute.
shit.
Like he literally said,
Damn.
"Etu Brute, you coward!" Right? And he deleted that. But then apparently they had a follow up tweet this morning or maybe last night where they talked that Jensen Ackles and Jared was like, they were like, "Oh, we had a call. We're brothers. Bumps in the road." And blah blah blah. And Jensen Ackles, the bold thing's like, you know, you're busy, I'm busy. Sometimes we can't be involved. But there's difference from being involved and just telling.
Yeah, right. Like you'd think that he would at least give him a heads up to be like, "Hey, man, did you hear we're working on this like project or whatever?" Or maybe because he's just not involved at all, they just didn't. They're like, maybe if you tell him. No, I don't know. That's just it's a courtesy, right? Just
No,
to
it
let him
is.
know.
It's a courtesy. And on top of that, it doesn't make sense that Dean Winchester is narrating. Okay,
Yeah.
you guys care about spoilers for the last episode?
No, not at all.
No, but viewers might.
Yeah,
so spoilers.
Viewers, spoiler alert for
the
15
end of-
seasons.
If somehow
Yeah.
you're one of the people that have held on to Supernatural up to the latest season, why? First of all, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
But spoiler alert.
Considering all the deaths and resurrections of each fucking character, from Castiel to Dean to Bobby to Sam, the last episode ends with, you know, what's it called? I think like they defeat Lucifer or whatever. I don't fucking know.
Again?
Did they
Again?
defeat him in season 5?
They constantly defeat everybody. Constantly. Castiel, on the 19th episode, second to last episode, he says "I love you too, Dean," and just dies or something.
They killed
then-
Death at one point.
Yeah, they do.
So Dean finally dies. I guess there's no chance of resurrection because the show effectively killed itself, right? But the way he dies, he fights with a guy in like a skull mask. People who are avid fans of the show, I've only seen the death scene and like the last couple episodes. You guys have better context for this. So he just fights with him. They're like have a little tussle, and then Dean is just like just backed into like a pole with like a knife or something sharp. And his
a
back
knife
is
tied to
just
a pole.
yeah no like they were just like tussling, and then he just pushes the guy pushes Dean into like a wooden pole with
It's like how
something
Wolverine
sharp in
dies.
it.
Oh.
It's like
Yeah.
how Wolverine dies.
Yeah, and it's like it's
Exactly.
like a small little thing, and then like you think it's just so you just hear the little squishy sound effect, and Sam's like, because Sam is like, we died and resurrected like 900 times. Let's go, bro.
Yeah, what's the
Yeah.
difference,
Yeah,
dude?
but he's like, no, I'm fading, Dean. Dean says, I'm fading. Please just stay with me, and then he dies and goes to heaven. So that's how he goes out.
But,
He gets
okay.
a stab in the back.
Okay, the
Okay.
thing is
There's probably
like
a grand purpose.
Oh,
for
he's
this.
narrating from heaven then. It's fine.
Yeah, which is like, but then like
Fine.
the way Sam Sam is like, Sam actually lives out his entire life, right? And it goes like it probably makes more sense for Sam to tell, because he has a kid, right? And Sam to tell his kid about like the whole
How I
like,
Met Your
Jesus
Brother.
okay, see, the thing is, it's like Supernatural is so fucking frustrating for me because I was like, I've mentioned it before. It's one of my favorite shows like ever at the time. Like growing up, it was like the show that I got into so much. Like I was super into it, and I think most people know this. If you're a fan, like up to season 5 is usually the point where like that's where it's considered to be like the golden era of the show.
Yeah,
That's when the original showrunner left because he only wanted to do 5 seasons. That final episode, Swan Song, wraps everything up so well.
And it's called Swan Song.
Yeah, it was deliberately made. There's a narration over it from the prophet guy, I forget his name, Chuck, and then like it's like it fits the bill. Everything goes so well. Sam sacrifices himself. Dean retires and gets his own life like back together. He actually decides to settle down, and it works with their characters so well. Their arcs, like, because in the beginning of the show, Sam just wants to have a normal life, but he realizes he can't. Like, he just can't do that. Like, it's just not for him. He's not destined to live like a regular person. And then Dean, on the other hand, is so caught up in the life, but really all he really wants is family. He wants to be with his family, and this is the only thing that he's known. And then at the end, he gets his family. Sam sacrifices himself. He redeems himself because all the fucked up shit he'd been doing like the whole show. And it's like, wow, what a great finale. And then at the very last moment of that episode, surprise, Sam is still alive somehow. He just shows up at the end watching Dean with the new family, and
It's like without
what?
a soul or something, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
soulless
it's-
Sam.
Yeah, it's the whole thing is like, oh, he's back, but like he doesn't have a soul, so now we got to figure out what's happened. Well, how does Sam back? What happened to his soul? Did he
was
get
like-
his soul back?
It was like Eric Kripke or something. He's the guy who does the boys now. Like was he the showrunner for the
Yeah,
first
he was
5
the original
seasons?
showrunner,
Yeah.
And Jensen Ackles is going to be in the next season of The Boys.
which
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Soldier Boy.
Oh God, so it's like the fact that the show just ran on.
Oh yeah, and it's
so
reversed
disappointing.
at the end. Now,
Yeah, now it's reversed, which again doesn't make any fucking sense.
It doesn't.
Because their characters, who they were, what like the point of it now seems fucking pointless. It's stupid.
And I mean, here's the thing about this show. You could literally do a top 10 deaths of Sam and Dean.
Yeah.
I don't know another show where you can do a top 10 about 2 people dying.
especially
Yeah, it's like
Bobby.
they completely undermined his
Yeah,
death.
Bobby dies a lot.
Oh, yeah, Bobby, dude. He dies like 3 fucking times. And the first time it's like, no. Actually, no. He dies in Swan Song, and then he immediately gets revived along with Castiel. And it's like, okay, but it's fine because it's like this is the end of the show. I guess, not too bad. Although probably he should just stay dead.
Yeah,
And then-
to be fair, Bobby at times will die for like a season or 2. Like it's a while, and then
Yeah.
he'll just pop back in whenever like he
And then
runs
his-
out of money or something.
His ghost comes back, and then
Oh,
like
Bobby
they have
comes
to
back
figure
in
out-
the like when they all go to heaven. Yeah, Bobby's,
Really?
Yeah, they're all drinking, and of
course.
it's like on Dean is like gets in like his favorite car. He's like driving off. It's like
See, like in season 5, there's like a big thing of like Ellen and I forget the other lady's name, but like the truck stop like people that they're friends with, like they die in that season, and it's
Yeah.
really dramatic and very well done. And then they show some fucking restraint because later when they go to heaven, they're like, "Have you seen Ellen and Joe?" And then they're like, "No." I didn't even know they died yet or whatever. And then it's like, oh fuck. And then it's like, even then they still can't reunite with them. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's like, but again, none of that shit matters anymore because they're just die and come back and die and come back.
Yeah.
And same thing with the parents. I mean, except I don't know. Does the dad come back at any
No,
point?
I don't think he does because he does he come back a couple times?
Yeah, because he has a
I
career.
think so. I
He
think
came back
does.
at least once and died again, I believe.
Yeah,
Of course he did.
Yeah, everyone's got okay. Don't quote me on this. I haven't know, but all I know is he doesn't have that many returns because he has a career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm busy, man. I'm doing
The
like
Walking Dead.
yeah, Walking Dead. I'm
Who's
doing
the dad?
Batman vs Superman.
He's
Uh,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeffrey Dean Morgan was that. See, I've
Yeah.
only watched like 2 episodes of Supernatural. It's something I do have like curiosity in that I might do have to do a watch eventually.
Yeah, it's great.
Watch
It's a
it
great
on
show.
Thumbs
We
Yeah,
spoiled the shit
even
out of
after
it.
season 5, like it's still fun.
Yeah,
like
there-
it's still a decent show.
There's
It's just,
some stuff.
I've seen
yeah.
the Scooby Doo episode.
I've not seen that one actually.
Has anybody seen that? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? There's an
No.
episode where they go into like the Scooby Doo universe, and they're like, it was pretty. I have no.
yeah, they
stakes
do
in this
fun shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's one of the great parts of the show. Like I know later after season 5, at some point they go into the real world where Supernatural is a show.
Yeah.
And then that's where I got the joke. Like, what are you, Polish? When his name's Jared Padalecki.
Speaking of returning franchises, especially on TV, I think CW, right, Winchester's.
Yeah.
Another CW show was coming back, and it's Smallville, but this in the form of an animated sequel, and it will have the original voice cast returning.
Huh. That's funny enough because that's actually Jensen Ackles was in that show too for like a little bit, which is funny. And
I never
actually, like
watched all
they
of them.
filmed like right around each other in like Canada. It was really funny. And at one point, there's a scene where they're up at like the end of a road and they're just driving down, and then they drove right past where they're filming Supernatural. So they just had the guy who plays Clark, I forget his name.
I forgot.
Whatever. They had him jump in the back of the car so that they're driving up. They're like, "What the fuck? It's Superman!" Like he's in the back seat, like that. But yeah, I liked Smallville. You
I've
know?
seen one episode. It's Superman murders the shit out of a guy in the Fortress of Solitude. He like pushes him into like a spike. That's the only episode of Smallville I've ever
That's
seen.
another show that ran too long, like every CW
He
show.
doesn't-
People say that that's
He
the best Lex
doesn't
Luthor.
fucking fly forever in that show.
No, he doesn't. Oh, he.
It's like
confusing.
It's the last episode, right? And they don't even show his suit because of the legal rights. Because like and then you just see Lois looking into the reflection of a plane of Superman flying, and Lex becomes president. It's a whole
silly.
thing.
I mean, I see like Michael Rosenbaum as Lex Luthor. Probably
He's
is my
great.
favorite.
Yeah, I remember.
Live action
I
Lex
didn't
Luthor.
watch much of the show, but I remember he was like he fucking killed it on the
Yeah,
show.
and then he disappears for like 8 seasons.
Really?
Yeah, like he's there, he's great, and then after a certain point, I remember he leaves for some reason. Like Michael Rosenbaum, like I don't know, he left the show. Like I think they kill him technically, and it's just dumb because he's gone for a while, and you really lose that presence. Yeah, it's like I like their whole thing of like where they're kind of childhood friends, and then like they kind of grew apart from each other, but there's still that like relationship dynamic
Was
between
it
them.
comparable to like a Spider-Man Harry Osborn situation?
Kind of, yeah. Actually,
yeah.
it's very much like that because, like, what it is that like Clark saves, like Lex is like I forget why, but he crashes and he hits Clark, and they both go over a bridge, and he should have died obviously, but then Clark saves Lex, and then later he's like trying to figure out what happened, and he becomes obsessed with Clark. He's like, I gotta figure out. There's something about this guy that's just not right. Like I hit him with the fucking car, and he's like, no, you didn't hit me. Like. You just
You
glanced.
hit your head.
Yeah, like you hit your head, and then he's like, "Did I? I can't remember." And then eventually he's like obsessed with like, "Oh, I gotta like figure out what's going on here." And
An asshole.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then Lionel Luthor is like also obsessed with.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
like
Lionel's
that was
great.
cool. Yeah, learning meeting Lex's dad, and he was obsessed with Clark's mom and everything. Like their relationship, like it was really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, the animated series though. That sounds like that could be done well because there was so much they couldn't do in the show.
Yes. I know there was like a comic book that kind of followed the events of season 8, but
What kind of animation is it going to be?
We
Is
don't
it gonna
know.
be- No. Okay.
we don't know yet. It just announced, so we'll see. To be honest, not really excited because I mean, I've watched all the Smallville like as a kid, and then I was just so burnt out with Superman not being Superman.
Yeah.
And then also I already have my Superman fix with, and I don't love the show, but I think it's does a lot of things I wish Smallville did, which was Superman and Lois, the one on the CW right now, because they shoot it on like anamorphic lens, and it looks a lot.
Not the one with Dean Cain. That classic one.
But it's that one does a lot of what I want, to go like Superman to go into his Kryptonian past, and like him actually flying and doing Superman stuff, him
Yeah.
actually like having the ability to show like his prowess and to deal with like how his godlike nature compares with like basically we are peasants towards him, ants, insects, but
Yeah.
it
It has one of my favorite moments, I think, just like Superman in general, where like someone hires an assassin to kill Clark, and they know he's vulnerable to kryptonite, so they shoot him with the kryptonite bullet, and it has this really cool moment because they do a ton of bullet time in that show because he moves super fast, and he hears the bullet, he turns around, and he just puts his hand up to block it like he would any other time, and then it just goes through his hand in slow motion, and he sees it, and he's like, what the fuck? And it goes into his chest, and he's like, holy shit, and he goes down, and he's like, I'm dying. Like, I'm fucking dying. Like, holy crap. Like, what do I do? And then his parents are like, what's going on? He's like, I don't know. Like, I think I'm dying. And then,
I've
like...
heard you talk about this before.
Yeah, that's
was
what...
actually
Because it's
pretty
one of my
cool.
favorite
That's
scenes in the whole
actually
show.
really cool.
Is that Smallville?
Yes,
But-
that's
okay.
small. It's
But
like...
they also use that kryptonite thing in a weird way too. I don't know if it's the same. No, I don't think it's the same episode. It might be the same season.
They
but
explore, like, all the kryptonites.
Yes.
Too. They red kryptonite, black
Black
kryptonite,
yes.
white kryptonite. Like,
the
they...
splitting the Clark's personalities.
Yeah,
and
funny
body.
enough, they don't touch on pink kryptonite. Notoriously the one that
You
turns...
really did lose your cock to muscle.
It's, it's, I know in the Superman and Lois,
Here's
they
the evidence.
they get to X kryptonite where you could put previous consciousness of old Kryptonians into.
Oh my
regular
gosh! I
bodies.
know there's
It's
one.
crazy.
They like switch bodies. Red kryptonite makes him like evil or just like
Yeah,
not give
yeah.
a shit about anybody.
You guys know way too
Jesus,
much about
yeah.
Superman.
It's cool. He's actually a really cool character. If done
I don't.
right.
People shoot on.
I-
Yeah, people shit on
I'm
Superman
not
way
a
too much.
Superman fan. I've never really watched
because
that
you
many-
haven't read the good comics.
I don't read comic books.
Unfortunately,
should.
well, I mean, it's
You
just,
should.
Like a lot of the media now, unfortunately, they just don't think outside of the animated stuff, which is why I'm actually looking forward to this. If this is Warner Brothers, well, I mean, it would be Warner Brothers Animation, right? I like all their stuff, and like Miles has said in the past, like animated DC is way superior than live action DC, and yeah, I think in every way,
It
visually,
definitely is.
Some animated DC.
well, I mean, yeah,
Some animated
they
DC.
pump out like 4 animated movies a
Yes.
year at least. Like it's some of them are really good, like Just League Dark and whatever. But
Yes.
yeah,
It's
good shit.
All right. Well, let's get on to what's it
One second
called?
though. But speaking of rebooted franchises,
What?
so the rumors are actually starting to look more promising that Amazon's going to come out with another series for Stargate. So
Really?
I'm really looking forward to it.
Also
I hope that it comes
watching
through.
fucking muscle atrophy.
Yeah.
Atrophy.
You know,
Atrophy.
honestly, muscular.
What is it? What's the word?
Muscular atrophy.
Yeah.
Well, Miles
have
has
you,
that.
Have you not seen $1 Million Baby? Right?
When it came out,
Yeah, that's one of the things that happened to her. She had suffered from muscular atrophy. What's it called? What's it called? I would actually be down to rewatch Stargate. I haven't seen that since like I was a kid and stuff.
It's an amazing show. I've been rewatching it, and it holds up definitely.
All right.
All right,
you guys
let's-
are a bunch
all
of
right.
nerds.
What's next thing? What's going on here?
Superman,
Okay, well,
Stargate.
What's up? Do you guys know that they're making another Tower Terror movie? But this time it'll have the special Scarlett Johansson to produce and star in it. What do you
Well, I
think?
gotta tell you, does anybody care?
No.
No.
This is man. So when the fuck did the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie come out? Was that 2002?
Five.
Maybe
It's like
2000
7 or 5? Or
Yeah, I want to say
It's not
2005.
2007. It was way
It
before
was like
2007.
2004, 7.
I want to say
like that.
2005.
Can we get a fact check? That was Spotify, not IMDb.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I think it was 2000.
4. I'm gonna say
It may
2004.
actually. It might be
2003.
2003. Ah, I was just gonna say that.
So that movie came out in 2003, and they've been trying to do something like it since, and we're in the year 2021 now. Because
Yeah.
they did Tomorrowland, of course.
Jungle Cruise.
Fucking Jungle Cruise.
It's coming out soon.
What was the other one they did? It was like the one that they did immediately after Pirates of the Caribbean. Like,
Oh, the Haunted Mansion,
Haunted
starring
Mansion
Eddie
with
Murphy.
Eddie Murphy.
which
yeah.
was
Bad.
Yeah.
Real bad.
I remember even as a kid just being like, "Oh man, this is not good."
Yeah, I was like excited for it because I loved the Haunted Mansion
Are you
and I loved
excited
Eddie
for
Murphy at the time because I was a kid. I was fucking like 8, 9 years old. I was I
but
was
they
like,
really have been
yeah.
just trying to make that happen again.
Yeah, no.
That was a great lightning in the bottle situation, I think, where they just got the right people on the right project at the right time.
Yeah, Jerry Bruckheimer was a good choice. I
Gore
mean, they.
Verbinski.
I mean, getting
sorry,
Johnny
yeah.
Depp.
Well, Jerry Bruckheimer produced
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Gore
But,
Verbinski, and because if you read a lot of the behind
Corbin
the set
Bitsy is
stuff,
great.
Gore Verbinski really just like made that happen and turn out good. Like a lot of I believe the higher up producers didn't like Johnny Depp doing all the weird shit, and then Gore Verbinski was like, "Are you kidding me? This is fucking gold. Like, let this happen, please."
But again, the problem they went down is like
Yeah,
they,
then they made him a main character.
they
when
did
he's
the
really,
Jack Spire,
yeah,
Sparrow
Jack Spicer.
syndrome. Yeah, Jack Spicer.
Evil Boy Genius.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just like, yeah, it's Jack Sparrow the movie.
We have
Here
to cover
go.
those eventually. I'd like to
Eventually.
talk about all 5, all 6.
Oh,
How many?
There's 5 right now.
There's 5.
Yeah, there's Pirates of the Caribbean, Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest, Pirates of the Caribbean, The World's End, right? Or
Yeah,
something
World's
other
End.
one.
At World's End.
At World's End. The Pirates of the Caribbean,
Stranger Tides.
Stranger Tides, Pirates of the Caribbean. It's
Dead
like the
Man
one
Dead
with
Man Tell No
Dead Man
Tales.
Tells No
I
Tales.
watched the first 30 minutes of it. It was bad.
No, Dead Man Tells No Tales is better than At Stranger Tides. That one was really bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say I watched up until Stranger Tides because I actually liked World's End at the time. Like, I tried rewatching like them recently, like somewhat recently, and I was like, oof, maybe
The
not.
first one holds up. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
Like,
the first one's
the
fantastic.
I rewatched the first one like maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I remember like still being pretty like, this is a really fun movie. The third one, it's not that it's bad. It's that it's going from like a fun swashbuckling movie to like Lord of the Rings. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's trying to be like the way that fucking movie opens. Like people are being hung, and it's like
There's
super.
a child
ultra-
gets hung.
That child gets hung, and they're singing. By the way, that guy needs to be told they're singing. The guy walks up, "Sir, they've begun to sing," and he's like, "Finally!" It's like you
Yeah.
can't hear.
The 9 pieces of 8. There's like, it becomes way more.
It goes
Oh, the
from,
warlords, right? And then
Yeah.
and then Keira Knightley becomes the king of pirates.
It goes
Yeah,
from
she was the captain of like the Chinese pirate ship.
Right. Oh, you know what? Okay.
Singapore.
You know what the thing is? I have a soft spot for those films. They came out as a kid. I know they're objectively not good films, but they're just so.
After 2 and 3, I will say objectively the first one is a good film.
yeah, I would agree.
I agree with that.
The first one's a good movie. You disagreed with me 2 years ago when I brought this up.
I hold my
So
comment
fucking
on.
weird, man.
2 years ago, June 15th. I remember. You said
June
you didn't like it.
15th.
9:30 p.m. You didn't like it.
But I can tell you where on Instagram when you. said
I don't care.
The first one's really good.
I think first one's good if you haven't watched that many swashbuckling.
There are parts
Yeah.
of the third one I like, but it just feels like really jarring going from one tone to another.
Well, I feel like the second one. Oh, and
Kinda-
it's not a defense. They kind of set up that fucking weird ass tone in the third
Yeah,
one.
like in the second
Yeah.
one, they really do. They expand the pirate world. They introduce Davy Jones and his crew, which I totally dug. But then they really got it in their heads afterwards. They're like, we need a cursed crew. We need some kind of weird cursed creature people. And then in Stranger Tides, I
It's
don't.
Blackbeard with Ian McShane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then in the fourth one, they're
Is
like,
what's it? Javier Bardem.
yeah, Javier Bardem. Which I would have been excited. I was excited. They're like, oh, Javier Bardem's doing a Pirates movie. That sounds like fun.
He's the best part.
Yeah, he's like a Spanish pirate, like or whatever, or no, he's like a fucking colonel, admiral, whatever.
Yeah, he got killed because he was tricked by Jack Sparrow.
Yeah,
to
by
get
a
into-
young CG Jack
Yes,
Sparrow,
Sparrow,
which I remember looked good in the trailer.
We
but whatever.
gotta just cover this eventually.
Yeah, eventually.
Well,
All right, let's move
okay.
on.
All right,
here.
let's go on.
All right, and then our last news topic is apparently Harrison Ford suffers injury rehearsing Indiana Jones 5 fight sequence.
You mean the
Who would have guessed?
the
Who would have
100
guessed?
He didn't even film.
108-year-old hurt himself?
And he also like literally this is the guy who like injured for weeks because a door fell on him. Like that like okay, to be
And,
fair,
like,
and Force Awakens.
Yeah, Force
Yeah.
Awakens. That was like what 5 years ago? Like how long ago was?
That was like 2015.
Yeah,
Right?
6
It's
years
2015.
ago. He was not in any real condition to be doing any kind of action sequences. He wasn't in any condition to do it in fucking Crystal
Kingdom
Skull.
Skull.
Yeah.
He was like,
He's so old.
yeah,
He's 70 what, 6 or 8?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah,
He's
getting there.
old.
70 something. Past 70, you shouldn't be Indiana Jones.
He's-
You should not be Indiana Jones after 60 something.
Yeah,
He shouldn't be Indiana Jones after like 50.
Yeah.
he's a cranky old guy. I mean, we worked with a client before who actually like meets Harrison Ford
Yeah.
in like the hangar, and apparently he said he's like an asshole or something.
Yeah, I think but again, I think we talked about this.
Yeah,
The
he's
dude
just a
is
cranky
grumpy.
old man.
He's an old guy. He wants to be left alone. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
What's
it's-
the...
how have they not handed off the franchise to somebody else
They
already?
tried to with Shia LaBeouf.
But he's
Is
not
he
a
in
COVID
the
guy.
new
Poor choice. No,
one?
he's not. He's not.
Why
It'll be.
not?
It's
They
so
have
far
another
the only,
young guy who's.
No, the
Is it
only
Chris Pratt?
Yeah,
Is
Chris
that
Pratt
No,
was
he-
like
he's
up
not.
for a while.
He was like that was the rumors. Yeah. Right now, it's the only confirmed cast that I know of at this point is Harrison Ford, obviously. Then we have Mads Mikkelsen as a villain, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge from Fleabag.
Yeah, I think
Have you
Red
guys
Letter
seen Fleabag?
Media. No, I'm not.
Okay.
I think Red Letter Media made a really good point with when they're talking about Crystal Skull. It's like you're supposed to want to be Indiana Jones, right? He's suave, he's handsome, he's cool, he's smart, he gets the ladies, he's on adventures and whatever. He's not like indestructible. He gets his ass kicked all the time, but that's like part of the charm. He's like every guy, but also like every guy's dream, right? Like he's not like as badass as like James Bond or something, but you want to be him, right? You want to emulate Indiana Jones. I don't want to be 76-year-old Harrison Ford like breaking my leg because I tried to jump over like a root or something. Like dude needs out.
I'm gonna... Is it time for a Blake hot take?
Okay.
I don't really care for the Indiana Jones series,
Boo.
even the good ones. I don't.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
I
Wait,
don't
what?
But we'll save that for if we ever come.
Wait, what? Whoa, that's such a hot take. So Raiders of the Lost Ark. You
He's
watched that?
78.
78. Fuck.
He's
Jesus Christ.
almost 80.
So
Dude,
by the time this movie comes out,
He'll
he'll
be
be
80.
like 80 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hand this
Especially
off.
with all the injuries he's going to
Hand
get.
this off to Chris Pratt. Hand this off to newcomer. The young Indiana Jones showed that it could work without Harrison Ford. Honestly,
Yeah.
he could be there as a mentor and just pass on the whip. It's fine.
Yeah, that was
I'm
like what they were
okay.
leading for with Shia, and I was fine with that back then. Now,
No.
way too intense for that.
Yeah.
But, like somebody, Chris Pratt, I think would be a perfect choice.
Or maybe like an unknown. We don't know. Like somebody who's like random up and coming.
They should cast the guy who played young Indiana Jones in the third movie for like that
River
one
Phoenix?
flashback scene.
Yeah, River Phoenix is dead.
He's
Oh,
dead.
really?
He's dead. He died of a drug overdose, right? That's how he died, right? Drug
Yeah,
overdose.
drug
yes, he
Yeah,
died.
yeah.
It's very
I
tragic.
did not realize that.
Okay, we're not laughing at his death. We're laughing at the fact that Miles didn't know he died. Very
Yeah, just
sorry
bring
to
him back. It's fine. Send him an
Joaquin
email.
Phoenix and,
I'm
I'm trying to
bad-
think of
I'm
the
bad with
worst
faces.
casting choice possible.
No
Wait,
idea.
but let's
who
go
the
back. So you watched Raiders of the Lost Ark. You saw the boulder scene. You saw what's it called? You saw when they open up the ark
It
and
looks-
they were like
okay,
melting,
I'm
and you were
not
like,
saying
that
it's-
did nothing for me. It's like you're just watching it like,
It looks real cool, but
Yeah.
it just doesn't do anything for me. It never has. Even as a kid, I watched them.
because
and
you're
I'm
an
like,
indoor
Yeah,
kid, I
you're-
think.
Yeah, so it's like
You missed out on those really fun
I like having
adventures
fun
and
outside
stuff.
as a kid.
I'm sure you did.
You're afraid of butterflies.
I'm not afraid of butterflies. That's a common
that
misconception.
makes so much sense. Why you?
Common misconception. I'm sorry, everyone. I don't like fucking Indiana Jones.
Okay,
I think
so.
okay.
Moving on from Blake's soulless takes. What have you guys been watching lately?
I'm glad you asked, Philip. As I stated a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
No. This is not getting into lost territory.
Thank God.
I promise.
Thank you.
I promise. Although I did watch an episode yesterday.
I don't care.
I don't care.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
not where I'm going. As I stated a couple weeks ago, we are in the golden age of content. We can stream anything we want. You could watch Citizen Kane if you wanted to. You could watch 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Get on with it.
So
Yeah.
of course, I was browsing the Hulu, and what else did I watch but 1999's Sabrina Down Under?
what the fuck is that?
yeah, I don't know what that is.
It's a sequel to Sabrina Goes to Rome.
Oh my
This-
god!
What is Sabrina? What is
Sabrina,
that?
this is the TV movie that coincides with Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Okay.
Jesus.
We see this makes sense come from the guy who doesn't like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying I liked it. It was, awful. I wanted to show you guys a screenshot because there is a sequence in this movie where she transforms into a fish. Which, by the way, has no plot. Like, there's no reason for it. Something does happen that affects the plot, but there was no reason for her to be a fish for this to happen.
Jesus.
So it's like really shitty 99 fucking
CG effects.
CG effects of her turning into a fish, and I gotta find the screen. Oh, here we go.
Oh, there she is. Oh wow, that
So
looks
if we
like
want to describe,
Dude.
it's a picture of a water and a picture of a person in a scuba diving suit, and in the right frame there's a CG fish.
CG fish that would make a PS1 animations look good.
And this is them using their magic.
I remember
so
the magic.
it's like-
was pretty convincing back in the
It's
day.
like
No!
if the Will Smith fish from the DreamWorks animated got butt fucked and then got lowered to PS1 animation,
Oh
that's
my
what it would
God.
look like.
That actually is a good way to put it.
Shark
it
Tales.
doesn't. So yeah, it looks pretty bad. There isn't like a single. It's fuck. You were saying that the cheerleader movie looked flat. This movie was like, God. It's like they.
Well, it's
I-
a TV movie,
Okay,
right?
okay, it's a TV movie.
Which we'll get into
It's a TV
later.
movie.
Yeah.
I took in 7th grade. I'm not even going to say film school. In 7th grade, I took a film class, and I swear to God, our projects looked better than this. It was real bad.
Jeez.
I would like to.
I've seen your projects from 7th grade. They do not look good.
Oh yeah. But for real, film class. In film class, you'll see better shit than this. Ron, you probably should.
Sure you would. Yeah.
What?
But I'd like to break down the plot just really, really quick because I have a funny point to
It
make.
better be quick.
It'll be really quick. The plot is that she is like a student biologist, and she discovers that there's like a mermaid species and that they're all kind of sick, or one of them gets sick, so she introduces herself and they have a romance, and then he shows them the secret mermaid world. But little does she know that but going with them, she has now exposed them to humanity, so they all start sending troops out to get them.
Are you sure you're not talking about Lady in the Water?
I'm not talking about the water, but I was going to say it does have some. It does kind of resemble Avatar, the James Cameron movie. So I'm not saying that James Cameron owes these people royalties, but
Okay, James,
we'll see.
Avatar.
I know. Avatar is not original. That
Yeah,
was
it's
just
a
joke I
fucking
wanted to
billion
make.
other movies.
But yeah, so
Jeez.
I'm not going to recommend it, but if you want a really bad made-for-TV 90s movie, go ahead.
Okay.
And once again,
Well-
this is from the guy who does not like Indiana Jones.
You could have been watching Indiana Jones.
And be watching it until you like it. Just keep watching it. I mean, one day I will just have you tied up like hog tied with apple in your mouth and just your
Yeah,
clockwise
we'll do-
orange. Just watch it.
I've
Raiders of
seen
Lost Ark.
the movie. Like,
I need
more
you to
than
watch it
once.
over again with Steven Soderbergh way, without sound. You just appreciate the staging. Then with only sound, to appreciate sound effects. Then with both. Then on top of that, you need to have your hands tied in a spread and just watch it, embrace it. You know what I mean?
All right, so let's go into our movies of the day. What are we talking about first here, you guys?
The first film we're watching will be Top Secret, directed by Jim Abrahams, David Zucker, and Jerry Zucker. Before this, they were previously known for making the all-time classic Airplane, which is one of my favorite comedies of all time. It's a spoof comedy, and they're one of the more influential contributors to the spoof genre as of late. Not the Wayans brothers, please. Fuck those movies. Oh my gosh.
You mean the Wayne brothers?
The Wayne brothers is Wayne brothers, right?
Wayne, yeah.
The Wayne
Haunted
brothers.
House
Okay, no,
is
but
a
the thing is-
masterpiece.
No, hold on. The Wayne brothers are hilarious. They're really good. It's I think even the first scary movie, arguably the second one, maybe. They have a history. They're good comedy, all right. In Living Color, they've done good shit, you know.
But just not.
But it's they're not since then. They
lost
needed
it.
Yeah, they have lost it.
destroyed the spoof genre. They're single.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, and then the other guys who did like epic movie
Yeah.
and shit like that, those are abysmal.
I would
I
say
know.
they killed.
Those
the
aren't
spoof
really
genre.
movies.
No, but then
I
what
wouldn't call
started
Meet
out-
the Spartans.
Yeah, they would make the references
disaster
based on
movie.
the trailers, and then and that they would put that in the film, so it'd be super dated by the time it comes out.
Jeez.
So you have Kung Fu Panda fighting like Leonidas. You're like, holy bitch. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh gosh. All right. Well, synopsis for this film is what's it called? It's about Nick Rivers is a famous 1980s or famous rock star because this film's kind of anachronistic.
He's like basically Elvis.
Yeah, he's
meets,
like
like
Elvis.
the Beatles, kind of like he's like that. Yeah, that
Meets
early-
the
He's
Boys?
opening for Stevie Wonder, or he's headlining for Stevie Wonder
If
and
time
Elvis Presley.
permits. If time permits.
Yeah.
He's he got invited by the East German government, who resembles the fascist Nazi government, the Third Reich, and all that stuff.
That threw me
to-
off. I was confused.
Yeah, I
But,
know.
we'll get into that later. But sorry.
to perform for them. But when he goes to when he actually does goes to East German, he meets a lovely lady in the form of I think Hilary Flamand, and she's also in the midst of a farcical revolution. And and now this is your last chance because we were gonna spoil every single gag, every single plot point, whatever there is plot.
I don't know. I don't know every single gag because there's so
a
many.
lot.
There's so
It's-
many packed into this movie.
All right. So first question I want to ask you guys: have you guys seen Naked Gun, Police Squad, and Airplane? How familiar are you guys with the Zuckers and Jim Abrahams' works?
I've seen Airplane, and then this.
That's it.
Same answer. I've seen Airplane and also this.
I've seen Airplane, Naked Gun, and now this as well. Obviously.
Yeah, I've seen Airplane as a kid and again recently, and I've just recently watched all their stuff to kind of get the feel of their work.
Mhm.
And this was the only one I haven't seen. And And it's. And I'm kind of glad I saw it, but based on the looks and the evil stares I'm getting from the room, it seems like we're all mixed opinion here. So what's it called? So what is a spoof comedy? How do you guys define a spoof comedy, for you in your perspective?
Just a movie that makes fun of typical tropes found in a certain genre. You know, haunted house making fun of Paranormal Activity, scary movie making fun of Scream. Just anything that like plays off of like common tropes in movies that should be taken seriously.
I could not have explained it any better.
Yeah, exactly. They like subvert a lot of those like narrative tropes and stuff, and I think in good spoof movies they subvert them in a way that you just don't even see them coming. You know,
Yeah.
that like kind of just really take you off guard. And yeah, I don't want get to in the movie yet, but like I think that's where this movie excels.
Oh, I could have explained it even better. You guys have explained it perfectly. But yeah, I agree with
Want us to
those
explain it again?
definitions. Yeah, exactly. Just go one by one. Can you say it again, Jason?
So this movie subverts a lot of. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Brett's expectations. What are you, Ryan Johnson?
I think one. Okay, so like one of the big things that I just noticed right away when watching the film is that this is like not just, and this will get into my criticism too, but this is not just a spoof of one genre, which is spy, which is technically the theme of today's discussion. But it's also a spoof of Elvis Presley musicals.
Yeah.
And it's a weird mix of the two.
And
that
Blue
sometimes
Lagoon?
it works. Yeah, yes.
For some reason, I did not expect Blue Lagoon to be in there.
I know. Oh, but that's one of my favorite gags. I have mixed feelings on how it successfully spoofs both, and maybe wondered if it would have been better if it was just two separate things. Because one of the things I love about Airplane, Airplane is a spoof, particularly of one particular film, 0 Hour. They literally saw 0 Hour and they were like, "Oh, why don't we just add that with jokes?"
Yeah.
It's like, you know that scene. Have you guys all seen Airplane? You know that scene when Leslie Nielsen's talking, so everything's gonna be safe, he'll be fine, but his nose just constantly grows bigger.
Yeah.
Right? And that's like literally mocking the scene from 0 Hour where it's like it's pretty shitty, but then he's saying it nicely, and then he's just walking away. It's dramatic.
Yeah.
But they do it, but they notch it up to 11. In this one, it's like I honestly think, even though I love this movie, I'm not gonna say it because not spoil my opinion, but I think it might have took too much to spoof. I do think though, like having two different genres in one, the spoof might have lost some of the focus that I had from Airplane. What are you guys' thoughts on it?
Yeah, this movie was just all over the place. Like, there's just so much going on at once. Like, it was hard to, like, latch on to anything. Like, I really don't even know what the fucking plot was, other than, like, saving...
Oh, it's like, yeah,
They're trying to save
spoilers,
the
but
scientist.
It's saving the scientist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nick Rivers meets Hillary, wants to basically bang her. But,
Yeah.
and she's part of the resistance, and they're trying to save her dad, which is, I think, Dr. Paul Fulman, right?
Yeah, that dude. He
Yeah.
played Alfred in the Batman movies.
This was it's a nice reunion between Val Kilmer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. No, I agree. I think it was trying to take on too much because all the stuff that I did enjoy about this film was like pretty much the spy stuff. When they went into the Elvis kind of like
God,
musical
I got sick
gags,
of those.
Yeah, I was like, dude, are we gonna go another musical scene right now? Because like I didn't really enjoy them. I thought those were the weakest parts. They also just went on just too long. I think.
Yeah, and they weren't that funny. They were the least funny parts of the movie.
I agree. Yeah.
The Elvis Presley stuff.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I
when
agree.
he's doing the musical numbers, it's just like, okay.
I thought it was funny the first time with the when they're like gonna have the guy go up on stage and sing.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
funny
But-
because of everything around that.
It's
Right.
also funny because it's playing into the character that he's so narcissistic that
Yeah.
he just assumes that they're talking about him.
But
I
the
gotta go
actual
up.
performance did nothing.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, I think he performed well. Val Kilmer, by the way, it's so sad that, like, you know, with throat cancer stuff, he looks
Yeah,
so
it's really
different
sad.
now. But, like, he was so handsome, so talented.
Oh, he was
Yeah.
This was
gorgeous.
his first role.
Yeah.
This was his first
Yeah,
credit.
yeah.
I forgot that
They
he
saw him,
was
like, in a play
a
or something
singer.
with Sean Penn, and that's how they were like, oh, this guy's perfect for this. Yeah. To be
Val
honest, like,
Kilmer's hair is amazing in this movie.
oh,
by the
yeah,
way.
yeah. He's
He's a
super
gorgeous
bangable.
man.
You know what I mean? Super bangable. My gosh.
Yeah, I mean that's the point, right? Like I like that. I thought that it was funny that he was like that Elvis kind of guy. That like in this movie, it's like why the fuck would Elvis be like in this situation? And I think that was fine. Just that small premise is there. Maybe just like one musical scene, like that initial one, like you said, where he jumps up on stage. That would have been totally good, and I think that would have been more than enough. After that, it was kind of like, all right, you're really stretching these jokes here, and like the everyone dancing, and it getting like progressively sillier.
Yeah.
I was like,
this
is really.
I did
lingering.
kind of like when he was trying to kill himself on stage in all
Yeah.
these like little ways.
That's
It was
true.
really funny.
That part was fun. That part was funny.
Eh.
I don't even know if like Elvis Presley they should have had that type of character in this. You know?
No,
what I mean?
I don't know
Yeah.
why they just decided on that. There's a bunch of other things that I think would have
Well,
worked better.
I was
a
gonna
different
say
archetype.
if they wanted to do the rock star is forced into like a crazy spy operation, they do a lot of musicals. They don't really play on the fact that he's a rock star that much in character sense. Like he's kind of arrogant and he's kind of like narcissistic, but I don't know. I think they could have had more fun with that.
Wait,
in,
no, he
in
did.
other
Remember?
scenes.
Remember, he was speaking German, and he was
Yeah,
like,
no.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the first scene, like that he's in, but after that, I don't know. I just think that him being a rock star, they do all the musical stuff as a character. They don't play it up for me. It's not that like, and in fact, one of the things too is I liked all the banter between him and his agent.
Yeah.
That was like my favorite part of the movie, and then the fucking agent dies like 30 minutes into the movie, and I remember being really disappointed about that.
It was one of my favorite jokes when they're when he goes to dinner where he's supposed to meet his agent, and then he starts reading the letter. he's like, I'm sorry I have to say this, like, but I won't be able to be joining you tonight for dinner, and then like he coughs and he's like sitting right there.
Yeah.
No. that was great. It's just like there's so many jokes like that throughout that just like again
just
like
catch you off guard.
that was the best parts like for me.
Yeah, I think like for me it was like I think the very first scene was very promising. What's it called, by the way, when
the buildings
beach thing? Yeah.
Oh, the beach.
The buildings are actually hilarious too. When there was
Skeeton, USA. Are you talking about?
Yeah, actually no. Even before we get into that, one of the things that the directors usually do is they don't like to have comedians in their films, right? They usually like to have very serious actors, and it kind of creates like a deadpan feel to a lot
like
of their
Leslie
stuff.
Nielsen is like the best part of that because he was a serious actor before he did Airplane, right? And then he brought that seriousness, that straight manness, but everything he's saying and doing is so ridiculous.
Exactly.
That
And
it's
it
great.
just has contrast. There's like this cognitive dissonance between like what's being said and what's actually being done.
Yeah.
And then in this case is the thing, like, they have Omar Sharif from fucking Dr. Zhivago and Lawrence of Arabia as this like as Agent Cedric. He's the guy who gets crushed in the car.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god.
He's literally from one of the two highly regarded films. People consider them the best films of all time, but they make him do stuff where like his thing, like when his boobs are touching his face, is basically what represents his penis is going up.
Yeah,
the antenna.
Yeah.
So he's earlier in the film, his car was compacted. And then later he shows up and he's like literally walking around as in compacted car. And that's the type of stuff that I appreciate. I don't necessarily find it that funny, but like the amount of effort that it takes to do a gag like that is just like, I admire the effort.
Yeah, I find it funny because it's like the ridiculous nature of it. It's like so hilarious.
The first time, like, because when he shows up to the lady's apartment or wherever she's at, and he opens the door, it took me like a couple seconds to process what the fuck was happening. I was like, wait, oh fuck, and then I don't know, I just started cracking up. When she's like, "Where's the letter?" He's like, "It's in the glove compartment." Can you reach it? And he like just keeps getting like they just keep shitting on him throughout the movie. Like when he's talking to the other spy guy, and he's just handing him gag.
After gag.
And after gag.
I think they purposely do that too because like I think at the time he was like one of the more like the most accomplished and respected actor of the thing. But having it's like having Daniel Day-Lewis come in for a movie and then having like put shit on his face and afterwards and have like maybe John Cena put his ass cheek on his face like randomly just do stuff like that. And I think it works. Like when I saw Omar Sharif, like, Omar Sharif, is that really him? And I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, it's like it's cool to have that. Like you have Peter Cushing, like fucking from Star Wars fame. Like, huh?
He's only in one scene.
Which scene was he in?
He was.
He's
You remember the guy? The
eyeglass
eyeglass.
guy.
Yeah, it's like
I forgot about-
backwards.
Yes.
Very odd.
Yeah.
Again, I think that harkens back to what Jason was saying. Is that the amount of effort that went into this
Yeah.
movie?
I agree.
That's something that is like seriously lacking in any of those other like really shitty spoof movies. Is that this one you can tell they had an imaginative idea and then they put in the work to do it. Like, I mean, I think we'll get into eventually, but like the water fight scene, holy shit!
Yeah,
I
awesome.
can't imagine
Awesome.
how hard that would have been to like shoot. And then again, this
the
scene,
backward scene.
Yeah.
Fuck.
it's like a what, like minute and a half, maybe 2 minute, like single shot, and then everything is
going
done backwards, and all the gags, like just for the little, like I like that they do milk it for like a few different gags, like the book thing where he's like popping his collar, shoots the book up,
and the thing is it's like there was thought into it because like the whole point is like the backwards English would sound like Swedish. They're trying to make fun of the fact of how like we interpret like foreign languages and stuff. There are like obvious thoughts and care into a lot of these things, like unlike a lot of different comedies, or anything Seth Rogen touches.
I don't know.
I like Superbad. Not as much now, but yeah.
What?
Superbad
totally
Superbad's
holds up.
Superbad stuck with me. It might not be the greatest thing ever made, but I still like it. I like it more than this, maybe.
Okay,
I
this is the guy who doesn't like Indiana Jones.
I gotta just come out.
Should've
and be,
never said
I gotta come out and be the one that says I didn't really care for this movie, and in fact, it actually took me a lot to finish it.
I know you were literally watching the 5 minutes right before this podcast.
Yeah, I watched the water fight as you guys got here.
So why? What would you say?
Okay. I should say, I don't necessarily love parody movies in general. Even, like, really good ones. Like, even, like, Spaceballs. And here's a good example of why. So, as a kid, I remember watching a lot more of these, and I found them a lot more funny than I do now, but they never really stuck with me. There were never movies that, I could harken back to and think about. I think part of the reason is that, and I think this movie especially is a good example of it. Like Jason said, there's just so much shit going on that you don't really know what to latch onto. And it's just joke after joke after joke. How can we make this ridiculous? How can we make this ridiculous? And I agree, there are a couple laughs for me. Not that many. There were a few moments that did make me really laugh really hard. But there's no real characters, and there was no real threat, and there was no real engagement for me. I never felt like I was engaged in the movie.
And I would normally agree with you on that. But in a spoof movie, I really don't think any of that matters.
I know,
it really
but
doesn't.
I feel like
I really don't think any of that matters.
I remember this week I wanted to talk about Burn After Reading. That's a movie that's essentially making fun of a genre too.
Right, but that's satire. That's completely different.
I know,
genre.
but it's similar. But there's
it's not that similar. it's not that similar.
I mean, I kind of see what Blake is saying.
Also making fun of a genre.
Yeah, right? It is trying to, like, I guess, subvert. There was that word again.
But the
genre.
characters in that are ridiculous too. But I feel like you get in the headspace more. Like Frances McDormand is ridiculous in that movie, but you really understand why she is the way she is.
Like, that's a completely different kind of style, and that's fine if that's what you have a preference for.
So I just don't care for parody movies like this. So I guess it, just off the bat, it's not going to be for me. There were moments I really liked though too, and I agree with Jason. You can see the amount of work, like the giant phone scene.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
The underwater fight, of course. There is a lot of work put into it.
The train station, like, driving off.
And then the guy sprinting after the tree, and, like, hops on the tree. It's so wacky.
It's just like little bits like that where there's like, you see the trees whooshing by, except for one. It
also almost takes me out though. Like, I was thinking, there's one scene in this movie that I was like, oh man, I hate this movie. When he's on the train and they're going and it does the whole map bit where it's like zooming into the map and then it becomes a goddamn Pac-Man thing. I was like, I fucking hate this movie.
Really? Well, I mean, that's fine. That's like, look, that's why you hate Asian stuff too. So I'm just kidding.
I like Asian movies. I've liked every Asian movie.
Right, wait till you watch Houseu.
I love Houseu.
Have you finished Houseu?
I love Houseu. I've seen it like 5 times.
Oh, okay. Really? Okay, because that's interesting. Because like I think Houseu and this one very different though. Like
very different.
But they both have a similar like thrilling abandon to it. Like they like throw all the rules out the window. They have this like one thing they do have. Ironically, they all have consistent rules, right? What's it called? They have like perspective gags. They do these things where they're like, these characters can die or can't die, or when the character does die, it's gone. But what's it called? They're both committed to the absurdity of their jokes.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's why it works compared to like some films that kind of half-ass the absurdity, or like they don't commit to it, or they add like extra drama or something to Fast and Furious franchise. But it's like
no, I think that's what I appreciate about the parody genre is when they do. They take all of like the they have an internal consistency, like you said. They kind of like they decide we're breaking the rules of filmmaking in a lot of ways. The whole time that like a lot of things that you expect to happen, you just completely flip it. Different filming techniques that are used, like it's completely on its face about like this is a movie, right? Like it's very what's called meta, right? Like a lot of the jokes of like like when they're parachuting down and then she's like trying to talk to Val Kilmer, which is again a common thing in movies. They're like they talk to each other while they're skydiving or while they're parachuting, even though that's impossible. But they're just like she's like, hey, what's his name?
Nick Rivers.
Hey Nick, and he like floats back up. Yeah, like what's up? And then they have that little romantic moment and they kiss, and then
the fireplace.
The fireplace rolls by again because that's a callback to earlier moments and things like that where they call back to like little things. Like I love when they're introducing the French Resistance. All of them have like furufafa like kind of French names of like, this is deja vu. It's like, have we met before? Like, I don't think so. Like entente or like whatever.
On
like
escargot.
Yeah.
And escargot is like super slow, like snails.
Yeah.
So.
Or the what is it? Chocolate souffle. And
Chocolate mousse.
Chocolate mousse. Yeah, and then he
I love
like
how he loads his Tommy gun with like it's a musket.
yeah. But I like the way that he just completely munches on the cigar, which is again that's funny because you always see him like like guys chewing on cigars, like little jokes like that. Even when they're introducing them when he first shows up and they're pointing all the guns at him and everything, and then one guy pulls out a cannon. That could have just been a simple throwaway gag, but they bring it back. During the shootout scene, he like busts out the cannon again, or where they're breaking the glass windows, and then like they have like 5 different glass breaking jokes. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
One right after the other.
It's like X and the
Yeah,
X
he's
and the
playing
O's.
tic-tac-toe.
Playing tic-tac-toe. One guy tries to bust the glass window to like put his gun out, and it does. The gun bends, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And then he's like trying to smash it, like it just doesn't break. Or the other guy who is like he's next to a window that's like all the panels are broken except for one, so he breaks that one. And like just things like that. Like that was just funny because it just kept piling on. I feel like that was part of their weaknesses at times where like certain bits went on a little too long, where it was like, okay, they're really milking this for every joke they can, which was I think part of the the genius of it, where it's like, okay, like I can't even think of anything else you could possibly throw in there, but a little bit of the weakness where it's like, okay, now it's not as good anymore.
So I think that's actually a general aspect in a lot of spoof movies that I've seen, where it seems like sometimes they come up with 3 or 4 different jokes for the same kind of effect, and then they can't decide which one's best because they're all so funny. So they just throw them all in. And it ends up working because, they say repetition makes comedy. So
there were a few instances, I'll say, that like where the joke extended long enough that it eventually became funny again. Like even like the musical sequence, like I think the opening one where he's like singing like the one like the Skeet USA where they're like shooting and like shooting guns and stuff. Musical. That was funny, and then it kept going, and I was like, man, I think this should have ended like a minute, 2 minutes ago, because I feel like this is like it's gone past the point where it's funny anymore.
But for me, that got funny again because when they released the top 3, it's like Skeeting USA, and then the number 3 is another Skeeting song.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
See, this is because like my issue is like I'm having fun remembering all these jokes and. Looking back, yes, they're funny. But in the context of the movie, I just really didn't care all that much as it was going on. Right? This is better, I think, in chunks. Like, I've seen scenes from this movie previously.
Yeah.
Like, there's that classic gif of him, like, he falls on the ground, looks up, and there's the boots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that was hilarious. I'm like, what movie is this from? And then I had seen the underwater fight sequence as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is fucking awesome. But while I'm watching the movie, I don't care as much as I did when I just watched them in these little chunks.
Right.
If that makes sense.
I could understand that. It's like, okay, look, honestly, spoof movies, they're very niche, right?
Yeah.
It's a very niche genre and for a niche audience because it's like you have to get buy into the world. You have to understand that these films' main priority is not the traditional like plot, character, themes. That goes all out the window. It's purely just to entertain and to maybe have a couple of ideas like, sometimes they would throw in random things like at the end when Hillary was talking about like, oh, do I need to go with you? But then, if we go with you, what happens in America? The interest rates fluctuate.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like,
and she goes into it like the whole thing, like
And then and then there's I just kicked all the mics. I'm so sorry for the people listening.
At least 3 times an episode.
I know. I have to. It's a recurring gag.
We're gonna have to tie
you are in a bad spot for that.
Yeah. What's called? But I mean, so if you don't really buy into that, I get it. And also, this is not my favorite spoof movie of all time. For me, it's Airplane. Airplane is my favorite American spoof movie.
I mean, we could go down the list of like we didn't even mention the Monty Python movies even the Austin Power movies. Like that's another like they do spy genre, which this one.
We should have done fucking Austin Powers.
That would have been a better call.
Yeah.
Nah, I think I'm glad that we did Top Secret.
Like, and this is like also like it's like they're all from like Milwaukee or something, right? I think so.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Zuckers, So they have this like Midwestern humor where it's like lowbrow, but then like it's kind of crude, but then it's kind of like the little kid where you're.
There are definitely a few crude jokes in here.
Yeah, there's a lot of crude jokes.
Yeah.
like
that's a good
The
reference.
sex toy.
oh yeah.
When he sits down and he's just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I've
How
tried
to
everything
please
I
my
can.
woman- please my wife.
Yeah, I've tried everything I can.
Or like
I just can't bring my wife to orgasm.
The boobs.
He's like, I
Boobs
got
in the
the
sand,
yeah, I've got the thing for you, and it's this massive sex toy that's like, you know,
which kills him.
yeah, which
I love that. See, and the thing is, I like these type of crude jokes, and these are honestly like I usually don't like lowbrow humor, but this is the one lowbrow humor I could enjoy in crude one because one, it's like the crude one's kind of like it sounds like a little kid, like oh, okay, that's funny, okay, but also the lowbrow stuff, it's like well thought out lowbrow humor. There's like effort. It's not like they thought about this in the back of their fucking like truck or something. They actually like kind of planned it out, like put a sequence to have the choreograph and all that shit, and it kind of works. Like it's like has a beginning, middle, and end to a lot of these jokes. Sometimes it's a little too long,
Yeah.
but it's like, but I appreciate the effort, and actually the effort is what makes it work compared to other spoof movies or other comedies in the future.
yeah, I agree with that.
And it fits the
There's-
film genre, the visual medium. That's the last thing I'll say.
There is clearly a high effort going on. It still doesn't work for me.
Oh, that's fine.
I don't know. Like, I don't like lowbrow either, and I don't make an exception for this. Like, there are moments that were really funny.
You just said you liked Superbad.
Yeah,
That's
Superbad
like
is lowbrow as fuck.
That's a nostalgia thing, though. I think that's like I saw that when I was a teenager.
I would say Superbad still holds up today. Superbad is one of those like last kind of more classic kind of comedies, or it was very like
Classic.
I would say
I
like
like
mid 2000s. Like it's more straight.
Superbad low-key has style. It has its own like kind of
yeah.
you know you're watching Superbad compared to any other teen movie. It's got that it's got the weird music choices, it's got that great title card sequence, it's got like the way they're dressed is very like odd.
It has a warm look to it. You're right. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Superbad's got like more of a nuanced style than any other comedy of its genre might have.
I think that that falls into the improv kind of comedy.
Yeah.
That whole Judd Apatow, like Seth Rogen, they have that very unique style. But again, that one plays on the actors being comedians, right?
Yes.
Like Seth Rogen is hilarious. Jonah Hill is hilarious. Bill Hader, like fucking
Michael Cera is
Michael
really
Cera.
funny too.
Yeah. Like again, but he's got that like improv background from doing things like Arrested Development.
Yeah,
Where,
I feel like
again, everyone
yeah.
there is fucking hilarious and they're riffing on each other. And it's a very different style because it's not as much visual comedy. And I really love visual comedy. Like you can tell Edgar Wright took a lot from these kind of movies.
yeah,
Everyone's one of
I was
those
gonna
favorite
bring up
films.
Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, like it's so devoted to like again I really like Superbad and like all those other kind of comedies too, but I think this particular kind of spoof genre in particular takes a lot into just the film what's it called medium, right? It takes a lot from there. It's like, okay, how can we use film as a very specific kind of thing that we just can't do anywhere else, you know, where the jokes don't work as like, you know, just like a book or like a stage play or something. Like, no.
I agree. I like it when comedies utilize, you know, the fact that they can use visual comedy.
Mhm.
And like I said, I think that is some of the best parts of this movie are when they utilize it. Like I like the big phone sequence.
When the guy falls off the tower and he just shatters.
It gets it. Oh, go on.
I like when they use the visual comedy. In fact, my favorite scene, it's not like really super visual, but it's just a weird fucking moment when they're like running away and they open the janitor closet and the janitor's just standing there.
Yeah.
That was the funniest moment of the whole movie for me.
And then prop room, and it's just a bunch of airplane props.
Or I like the part they run outside and they're like, "Quick, get on a bike!" And then he's like, "Yeah," scares away the other bikes, and they just like go off like horses.
But that more appeals to me because I like just really fucking weird shit. So like the fact that the janitor's just in there smiling to himself is really funny. So I do like when they use visual comedy. I just think that a lot of the jokes just feel to me. Like the big boob thing, I was like, ha ha ha.
Are you talking about when the boobs highlight once she sees Nick?
No, when the boobs are like, in the
Skeeton
sand.
USA.
Oh, those in the
In
sand?
Skeeton, USA.
Oh,
Like,
you mean when the boobs are in
yeah,
the sand?
like I just rolled my
nice
eyes.
boobs, by the way.
I just rolled my eyes at that, and that was a lot of the movie to me. I like the fucking Pac-Man thing. I was like, oh, okay. A lot of the movie just.
That made me crack up.
I did. I laughed because it was ridiculous, right?
I think it comes down. I mean, obviously here, like comedy is very subjective, right?
Yeah.
So even though Blake's wrong, that's fine.
Yeah,
you know?
okay. I mean, he doesn't like Indiana Jones.
Comedy is a hard one. Comedy's a hard thing to talk about because, like,
It is.
It's
I
very
mean,
subjective.
we're gonna talk about more horror stuff eventually, but like again, horror's that same way. It's like what scares you is not gonna scare me exactly. What's gonna make you laugh, not gonna make me laugh.
The idea of watching this movie again scares me.
That's what's it called? Okay, so I mean, like one of the things that we were talking about, like different like film techniques, right? Like the perspective gags. What are your favorite perspective gags? We talked about the phone and what's it called, like the train sequence and stuff. I think my favorite is the phone.
The phone's
right? Yeah, the
hilarious.
phone. You think it's like just like really close to the camera, but it's just a really big
It's
phone.
a gigantic.
Yeah,
phone.
I think the phone's my favorite as well.
Yeah, the phone.
The eyeball one got me.
Oh yeah, the eyeball too.
He has a magnifying glass. Up
Oh,
to his
yeah,
eyeball.
that was
It's
funny.
just
He's
part
reading a
of it.
book. He comes close. He pulls it away. He's just a gigantic eye. Yeah, that was great.
Was
So-
he playing Grand Moff Tarkin in that scene?
Yeah.
Possibly.
Wow,
What's it
I'm
called?
ready.
And also, we were talking about the train, right? Like
Yeah.
the train sequence. Oh my god, the train sequence! I was like, at first it felt weird to me. There's something off. Like it feels like the background is moving, but the train feels so still. Like and then-
They make the effort again of having the smoke moving in the right direction, where it's moving from right to left, so it gives you that extra illusion. It works so well.
and then you caught me just looking like, oh okay. And then I was like, it's like shit like that. It's like it's impressive. It's like
It's really impressive.
yeah. It's like I wonder. It's like why aren't more comedy directors using like visual comedy elements like this? And Edgar Wright, I think, like does that. quite a
Edgar Wright
bit,
does
Yeah. Even then, he's I mean, well,
He's
I don't
moved
know.
away.
He has moved away from that kind of stuff, and also I think a lot like the horror genre. Studios see comedies as like, yeah, we can do that, slap that shit together, low budget, we'll just film them in some bullshit town and have them just improv, and then it's fine. And there is great improv comedy, like we're saying, like super bad.
And then there's real bad ones.
And then there's
too.
real bad ones. You can get into like where they're just like, yeah, there's just comedy. Like we'll just have them rip.
95% of big comedy
Ghostbusters.
movies suck.
The new one.
ass.
Yeah.
I never saw it.
Neither did I, but
Which one?
like
The
the,
new
newest
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters.
Ugh.
Like
I
I've
heard
seen
some-
behind the scenes stuff, and it's just them just riffing over and over again, and it's just not.
Yeah. Even
Great.
like This Is
Like-
the End. I liked This Is the End, but again, that has the same issue I think that this movie has, where bits just went on for too long.
I
Like,
actually
they
like
just
This
didn't
Is
know
the
when
End.
to say when.
That's one of the only movies.
Man,
of
you
that
have the
genre.
worst takes this
I
episode.
know.
That's-
You like This Is the
I would
End
like
over
to
Top
say-
Secret?
I would like
Oh
to
my
say
God.
that's one of the only movies in that kind of improv genre that I like. I usually don't. I just thought, I don't know, that was a great usage of just people just fucking ad-libbing and going on and on. Like, I
think-
thought it was pretty funny.
It was good to a point. Like, it was just good, and then after, like, when the minutes just keeps going and the jokes, and, like, they just not letting this
There
bit
was
go,
a-
I was like, okay.
There was a
can we
point
move
where
on?
Jason Bateman did like 5 bad comedies a year. You remember that? Like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bad Words.
Oh no.
Horrible
Bad
Bosses
Words was
was
okay.
good.
That was the one he
Horrible
directed.
Bosses.
Horrible Bosses, and then he did like the one, the Change Up or something, or
What
he
was
switched
the
the body.
Identity Theft?
Yeah, Identity Theft.
He did
yeah.
a bunch
knows?
of really bad.
But now he's like kind of
comedies.
evolved into like.
He's more of a serious actor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was great. It was great.
We have what's his name to thank for that? The guy he's in Attack of the Clones. He directs movies now.
Joel Edgerton.
Joel Edgerton. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh
The
yeah.
Gift. The Gift is
Oh, The
great.
Gift.
We have to talk about the gift. I do
Yeah,
like the
Yes,
gift.
The
Absolutely.
Gift is
Yes.
great.
The Grift
Alright.
made me feel dirty.
Oh,
Yeah, for sure.
The Gift.
Oh,
My
wait.
dad took a first date to see that movie, and I was like, "Oh, bad call."
Yeah, I got out of that movie. Sorry, real quick. I got out of that movie with my girlfriend at the time, and she like,
You've had a girlfriend?
yes, you know this.
What
And
about
she
your
was like,
atrophy?
you weren't like really mean to anyone in high school, right? I'm like, no, I wasn't. I mean, maybe,
That
but
movie's so good.
No, we were the people they were mean to,
yeah.
You're gonna get gifted.
No, we can give out the gift. That's great, yeah.
What about what's like one of the things about this film is that like some of the jokes get to surrealism. It's like not even just hyper reality. It's like it goes on to surrealistic reality. Like the one you mentioned earlier where like chocolate mousse hits somebody on top of a tower and the guy falls down
Yeah.
and becomes glass.
Yeah, it just shatters on impact. That was great. 'Cause-
Oh, that was really funny. Yeah.
yeah, that plays on the idea of like usually it's a stunt or you can tell it's a dummy, and it's like this one I didn't tell it was a dummy. I mean, you tell he's pretty stiff, but that's kind of normal because it's like that's how stuntmen have to fall to land on like a pad, which is fine, whatever. And then he just shatters. It's just great.
That was probably a nightmare to get done.
Oh yeah.
Hoping they got that done in like 1 or 2 takes.
There's like even one of my favorite visual gags too is when he's like, all right, so let's go over the plan again, and he starts off with the stick.
Yeah.
He draws a sword. He's like, we're here, like scratches a crude little X into the sand. It's like, and then we're gonna move over here. It's like, oh, there's little trees. He's like, and then he puts down a little cow. He's like, and then we move towards here, and there's like a whole like a bunch of cows and the fence, and it's a really elaborate miniature of the
Yeah,
place they're going for.
I thought that was incredibly clever, but I didn't laugh. I know I'm being the
Or
asshole.
even
today.
the parts where again they fuck with the audio when they're sneaking through and
Oh,
there's
yeah,
like a
yeah.
bunch of leaves, and then he just turns around and goes shh, and then all the leaves go quiet as they keep walking.
That's good. Oh god.
That made me laugh. I was cracking up throughout. But again, I will say that there were some parts, again, like we said, with the musical stuff where I was like, it was a little hard to get through.
Yeah, I agree. The musical stuff was.
I think it was a double-edged sword where there's certain moments where you don't see the comedy coming, and there's like a good chunk of time where there aren't jokes happening, but when they do happen, they're pretty rapid fire. But yeah.
And those are my least favorite parts, when the jokes aren't happening. They were actually trying to give a plot to this.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, and I get it. You need something to tie it together, right?
I really need something. I need a plot in a movie. I need it. Like,
that's part of the reason I didn't connect.
So like when they're explaining what was going on, I was like, okay, now I can maybe latch on to something here. That worked for me.
I think. Oh wait, it's like I think like they kind of needed like the approach they took to airplanes, right?
Yes.
Where it's the plot they got directly rips off 0 Hour.
Yeah.
And they just added jokes on top of that. I think honestly probably took off the musical element
Yeah.
and probably directly ripped off maybe even Dr. Zhivago, since you have the actor from Dr. Zhivago, or other spy, not other spy from like a John Le Carre. Maybe honestly a Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Yeah.
Because that was like
that would have been perfect.
Yeah,
honestly.
but with like that type of humor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that
it's
was
a little
hilarious.
more. It would have been a little more focused. Because like I think that's so great about Airplane. It's a very, very it's a pretty streamlined movie. Again, that movie does have its little issues. Again, with like the dancing, Saturday Night Fever.
Oh wait,
like,
I love that.
I didn't like it.
Because you hate everything musical.
No, I don't hate everything musical. I'm
I'm
okay
joking.
with musicals. But funny enough, we're discussing like what movies to watch for this week, and then we kind of talked about musicals because of In the Heights, and we were like, let's not do musicals, and then we ended up fucking watching a musical anyway.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
But like with Airplane, it's pretty tight. It's the ideas, the premise is simple. Plane's going down. We need to figure out how to land this plane, and that's it. And the tension is there, and everything revolves around that. This one kind of meanders around. It's like the main character, Val Kilmer, he's not exactly connected to the main plot, which is like, you know, them trying to like rescue a scientist or whatever, and then he kind of does attach to himself to it, and so I think I agree. It is lacking that
If
kind
anything,
of central conflict that really drives the plot forward.
There's no real characters in it.
Yeah, like even Monty Python and the Holy Grail, the central plot is they're trying to find the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
And that's it. And there's a bunch of little side gags and tons of things that, you know, they riff off from there, which is great. But there is that central element that is essential.
Even like we were talking about Superbad. But like that's the reason that movie works is because they have that central goal.
We
at
gotta
the end.
get to this party, and then we're gonna get
Superbad
laid.
Superbad works because I think all three leads have pretty defining character. To them.
But I don't think it would have.
It's a very different genre.
I know,
this one, like in spoof movies, you don't have characters; you have caricatures.
I know. I'm aware.
Yeah, so it's like, and caricatures, they're just like, they're a vehicle for jokes.
Yeah,
right.
Which I think was great. And it's like a lot of this, and that was a big problem, because like you said, he's trying to be Elvis, and we get that Elvis riff and jokes at first. Like, I think him doing Tutti Frutti was really funny. I was like, that's hilarious, because, you know, everyone accuses Elvis of ripping off like black music and like exploiting that niche, which is, you know, like, I'm glad that they kind of referenced that again. Which, by the way, I don't know if anyone who's listening to this has heard, but like there's another version of Tutti Frutti that was sung by like a white guy, because back then studios were extra racist, and they're like, okay, well, Little Richard's not going to be big because he's black, so we have to give it to a white artist. And so they gave Tutti Frutti to a white artist, and he sings it, and it's the blandest, most watered down version of Tutti Frutti you could hear. Val Kilmer does Tutti Frutti way more justice than that guy. It's kind of hilarious, and it's sad to like listen to it now, where it's like, man, like they really wanted to push this.
Fuck this guy over.
Yeah. Oh man, that sucks. I honestly think like if we were to like, if there was a refocused version of this, like honestly Hillary probably could have been the main character, right? Because she's actually directly tied to the plot. And she's trying to find her dad, and she's trying to go, and there's not a lot of at the time there wasn't a lot of female protagonists for spoof movies, so that would have been interesting, right? An interesting perspective. It's just like, you know, it's I think like I ended up, it's like I really went back and forth. I've just finished watching it the third time yesterday, and what's it called? And the first time I was actually on Blake's side. So it's like because I was like, and my fault for watching, because I was like trying to watch this stuff chronologically. So I watched Airplane, and then I watched this, and I'm just like, fuck this movie. But the second time I watched it, and that's when I kind of like got into like, okay, so these jokes and this and that. So, and I saw the jokes coming, and I'm like, okay, so this is what they're trying to do. And I started laughing more. And the third time, I kind of settled on like, I really, really like it. I want to love it, but because of the unfocused nature, it's hard for me to get to that thing.
Yeah,
but it is consistent.
I think there's a decent, good reason why like Airplane and the Naked Gun movies were way more popular. Even now, people look back and they remember those movies. Top Secret is way more like it's less known. It's still known, like a lot of people who like it, and it's still like beloved, and I think for a lot of good reasons. But it's often looked over compared to like Airplane and the Naked Gun. Because again, Naked Gun very focused more. That one is like it's a cop guy. He is the central character, and he's dealing with all the like cop drama jokes, and that's great. Yeah. So that's what this movie was lacking.
Yeah, no, it bombed at the box office, right? It's like $8 or $9 million budget, and then it made like $20 million. And you guys, and then what's it called? In general, they have to make 3 times the budget to make profit. But it came out the same year as Ghostbusters, so it's still a lot of thunder. 1984. Yeah.
Yeah. So are we saying that we could do Top Secret better? Yes. No.
Well, no.
But no way. Yeah.
I think that what? Oh, sorry. I think that Nick Fury feels like a better parody of spy movies than Top Secret
No way,
does.
man. Okay, well now we can so are we good with Top Secret?
Well,
yeah, let's
Philip.
All right, let's give our final ratings. Let's start with Jason.
So, I kind of agree with everyone here to a certain extent. I did struggle getting through it, but at the same time, it's really funny. Like, there's some really funny gags. I just kind of wish... I don't know. I just wish there was something more that would give me... or that would allow me to latch onto. And I think it's funnier out of context. That's my thought. So I'm not sure I'll ever watch it again, honestly.
So bargain bin for you, probably?
Yeah, I could see myself Googling different scenes and laughing at them, but sitting through it again is probably not going to be for me. So yeah, bargain bin.
For your dads, maybe?
What about you, Blake?
I want to mention one more scene, just because when are we ever going to fucking talk about this again? I did like the last scene a lot. The... oh, goodbye, you. And Scarecrow, I will miss you the most. And the reason I liked it so much was because I was thinking of that scene during the whole when Dorothy tells Scarecrow that I miss him the most. That's been parodied a lot. Like Family Guy even did a bit.
Yeah, I think Family Guy may have... like, I swear I may get crucified for this, but like I think Family Guy may have done that joke better, where it's just like, I'm Scarecrow, I'll miss you most, and everyone's like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, they're like, wow, we're standing right here, you bitch. It's like farting and leaving a room. That's how I remember you, as a fart.
I like that joke a lot. Anyways, to my rating, it's kind of hard for me. I can't in good conscience give it the shit box, because there is
box.
Sorry, shit. What's it
shit
called?
Bucket.
Shit bucket. I can't in good conscience give it the shit bucket, because I will say there was clearly love, affection in this movie. You could tell the directors liked what they were doing, and as we've all said, a lot of hard work. That being said, if it even touched my shelf, I would have to throw away all my Blu-rays and rebuy them, because it would degrade the quality of my curated Blu-ray collection.
Oh my god.
So
but you don't like Indiana Jones.
I will say that bargain bin, but I'm probably never ever going to watch it again. But also, I don't like the genre, so
there's a lot to say. I really like. I did really like this movie. There's more than enough times where I was laughing and enjoying myself. I did have issues with it. I don't know if I'd put it on the shelf. I'd probably buy it, like if it was like a bargain bin thing, but also I would love to see like the behind the scenes stuff of how they made this, like because there's so many.
That is true.
There's so many things.
Commit.
I would say I would buy the Blu-ray, or if there's like a little special edition that's like that has like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, I'd get it. I'm not gonna like I don't think I'd do like Criterion level stuff, but like I'm buy it. Like I'm definitely want to buy this movie.
I think for me, we didn't even talk about the gag because you mentioned it before, the Blue Lagoon.
Yeah,
when they were having with Nigel and Hillary when they were young on the beach.
Yeah,
and then they're having their first discovery of sex.
Yeah, and
it's
all the
like feet and extra thing on top of
I was
each
gonna
other.
bring that up. That's funny.
Oh,
They start off small, just like an extra hand, and then there's an extra foot, leg, arm, body, torso, like
Yeah.
all just pile onto each other.
And when she meets him again, and she's like measuring things, like
Yeah.
it's like-
I like that he shows up and he looks exactly like he did, but like, you know,
Way more
as the
buff.
adult version, yeah,
Yeah.
he's still dressed like he's
Yeah.
from the fucking island.
he's and also another scene with him with the cow. We didn't even talk about the cow, and that's
Oh,
like
yeah.
on the poster where he gets his like what's the baby cow is sucking like
The udders.
the
Oh
udders,
my
and he's like, oh, okay, let's stop. Let's no need to ride. Oh,
That's what I mean.
oh.
That's just like lowbrow.
Th-
Yeah,
There was
I didn't think that was great.
Yeah,
I was
there-
more just like Jesus.
That was one of the weaker jokes. Like, I mean, we didn't
Yeah.
even talk too much about the setting of it being like set in the like.
It's
I couldn't
anachronistic,
tell.
yeah.
I couldn't tell. I was like, wait, so this is like, is this a World War II joke? Because these are like Nazis, right? And it's like, oh no, they're talking about East and West Germany. I'm like, but like, shouldn't the Soviets be in charge then? So I was a little like thrown off by that. I was like, I feel like if they had just zeroed in on this being like a World War II,
yeah.
or like, you know, a Soviet era comedy, they could have drawn way more jokes from it, but it felt like they were trying to have their cake and eat it too. They're just like, yeah, it's just all that jokes. It's communism, it's fascism, it's like East West Germany style. Like, I was like, I feel like they could have focused in a bit more on that.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why they producers thought why it failed at the box office, because the anachronistic timeline, and people were confused and they're like, what is this? Is it a musical? Is this what time period is set in? Because, you know, back then Americans were like, it has to be very clear or I'm not gonna watch it. And that's fine. But
Sound like my dad.
I know. As for my own rating, I've grown to really, really like it. I can't put it in the museum like Airplane or anything like that. I just can't. It's a little too unfocused for me. But I appreciate these guys' styles. There's really like these three guys, the Zuckers and Abrahams, are one of a kind. Like, I don't think we'll ever get anything like them again.
Yeah.
There's like Modern Evolution is Edgar Wright, but he's different. He's like not even really doing visual comedies much anymore. I would put this on the shelf. I agree. I would love to see all the special effects, and I would probably watch this again later. I'll probably show it to Leia, and she'll probably hate me and kill me for it. And she'll roll around my balls and stuff.
Yeah, I tried watching it with Rosie, and she fell asleep.
She made the right call.
Which I was fine with. I mean, to be fair, she had been working, but she was like joking. She enjoyed it, and then she was like like by the time they're like he's doing his first dance number.
So now we'll discuss the 1998 made-for-television movie, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. The synopsis of this movie is that after a long hiatus, Nick Fury is asked to come back to S.H.I.E.L.D., a government agency, after an old enemy resurfaces.
Is this film prophetic? Is it ahead of its time?
You know,
Yes.
it was written by David S. Goyer. I don't want to get ahead of...
Fucking legends.
I don't want to get ahead of anything, but this might be the greatest thing he's ever written.
It might be, yeah. Honestly, maybe Marvel should have just used this movie as a jumping off point.
Yeah, I think that this is a much better starting point than Iron Man.
Yeah, right?
This could have really been the start to the fire.
Yeah, and that way, what's his face? David Hasselhoff instead of, like, Samuel Jackson, because that would have been...
Could you imagine David Hasselhoff doing the "I'm here to talk about the Avengers Initiative" to
Yeah.
Robert Downey
He'd
Jr.?
been like, I'm here to talk about the Avengers Initiative.
So, guys, what did you think of Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Philip?
It's just mediocre. It's bad. I mean, it's not entertaining bad. It's just but it's hard for me to shit on it so much. It's like a TV movie, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Is it a TV movie?
Yeah, it is a TV
Yeah,
movie.
it is.
Do you think
It never got released.
Who do you think had a higher budget, this or Sabrina?
This had a
definitely
$9 million budget. I looked it up.
What's it called?
That's surprising. to
Yeah,
me.
it
6
doesn't
million.
How did they do that?
6 million. 6 million. Sorry.
6 million.
60. Yeah. What's it
Um,
called?
That goes back to the end of the movie. 6 or 9. You remember that?
6 or 9. 6 or 9.
I,
Oh yes, I
You don't remember
that.
that?
Honestly, this
Remember when the Esper,
Oh, I do
the
remember that,
Esper
sorry.
kinda- All right, not to get ahead of yourself.
Yeah,
but, okay.
sorry.
What's it called? Okay, Blake. What's it called? You wanna get us into this film? What are the things you think David Goyer does so right with this film?
Well, okay.
Why is it a masterpiece?
Before we tear this apart, I do think we should mention that I did find there was no source, but I did find something saying that David Goyer actually said the script was supposed to be very tongue-in-cheek. It was supposed to be kind of a joke, and that initially when he heard that David Hasselhoff had been cast, he was like, "Oh man, that's a real bad call." But upon watching the movie, he thought that David Hasselhoff was the only person that saw it for what it was. It's just a joke, basically.
If it wasn't David Hasselhoff, this movie wouldn't have
Be as
even
funny.
been. Yeah, it wouldn't have been as funny. It wouldn't have been even been bearable to watch. Honestly.
This movie actually kind of feels like a good parody movie of a spy movie. This movie has every single trope of the genre smashed together in like this canned food form. It's really funny, and every cliche line you've ever heard in an action movie is in this movie. It's about 75% of this movie is just David Hasselhoff saying bad one-liners.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
And he's great at it. It's fun.
It's really funny.
If it had been a spoof, that would have been, I think, so much better, because like it's just like it's trying to do it, but it doesn't feel like it's doing it ironically. It feels like they were trying to do it like straight as possible, and shooting it in 4 locations in a warehouse in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that tunnel, they reuse that like train tunnel multiple times.
It's like, isn't that like where he's living in the beginning of the movie?
Yeah, it's like a shaft mine or something. This was supposed to kickstart a television series, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Obviously not the one that we eventually got, but this was originally going to be like the first episode / TV movie to kick off an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Television series, but of course it was so fucking bad that they basically just scrapped the entire project. I want to see the reality where this kicked it off and how that
Absolutely, dude.
I want to see how that would have affected today.
Yeah, this was 98, right?
Yes,
So I would have eaten this shit up if I knew about this when I was a kid, and I would have loved the TV show.
It would have possibly killed the superhero genre. Like, I think, well, at least the TV superhero genre.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it probably would have been like a stupid fun time on the thing. It's really bad.
Yeah, I would have loved to see a season of this. Just one.
Yeah.
One. Just like goofy, stupid, awful Nick Fury TV show. It would have been fun.
It would have been really fun, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, everything about this movie is awful. It feels very, I don't know, man. I've actually listed, so I compiled a list of different quotes from this movie that all feel very cliche, and I kind of want to read them. So one character says to Nick Fury, "Hydra is trying to send you a message." Nick Fury walks away as he's smoking a cigar. "Looks like I heard it." One of Nick Fury's old friends, when he comes back to Hydra, says, "Well, well, well, look what the cat dragged in." One of the characters tells Nick Fury, "The world's changed." And Nick Fury says, "If the world's changed, then you wouldn't need people like me, would you?" Nick Fury has a love interest in this movie, and there's a moment where they're kind of reminiscing of their old lost love, and she says she hates this city, and Nick Fury says, "Why? We had some good times here." She looks sad and then goes, "We? You had some good times here." Upon meeting an old enemy, Nick Fury says, "Dr. Zola, so we meet again." And it should also be noted that Dr. Zola is wearing an oxygen mask, which is kind of a cliche. In the context of a character kisses him with a poison on her, she says, "You've been kissed, ... the kiss of death." There is a point where they're in a desperate situation, and one character goes, "There's one possibility, but it's a long shot."
You could stop.
Can I read? Yeah, can I read one of these?
Yeah.
Okay. "You liked my kissing so much, you've come back for more. I'm amazed you've lasted this long."
Honestly, that one, like, it made my thinking go, ooh. Yeah, I was like...
But my favorite line in the movie is, "Let us rock and let us roll."
2 minutes into the movie. I'm sorry, and then I just want to point out the very last line of the movie is, a dead villain comes back to life and then says, "Our work has only just begun."
Oy.
Yeah.
I was like, my expectations were subverted. I thought that like Baron von Strucker was gonna be the bad guy, but it's instead is his fucking terrible daughter and son,
Who's fucking great.
She's hilarious.
She's so
Are you
fun.
kidding me? She's hilarious. Dude, her outfit is hilarious, too. at
Of
the
Mortal
end.
Kombat Annihilation fame.
Yeah.
Sonya
Yeah.
Blade, yeah.
Sonya Blade herself.
God.
She's great. She's like perfect for an evil TV villain. Like it felt like
Okay.
was the woman from Power Rangers?
Oh, fuck.
Rita,
Rita,
right?
Rita Repulsa.
Yeah, she was like hamming it up to Rita levels, and it was fun.
Yeah, I don't know why, but like I'm like super into really mean evil bitches. So like when I watched this, I was just like, oh god, I'm so distracted when I see her. But she was, her and David Hasselhoff pretty much are the only ones.
They're both having a good time. I'll say that much. They're with her. Does she know she's in a bad movie, or
I think she does.
Is she just having a good time?
She was from Mortal Kombat Annihilation. She knows what's a bad movie.
She knew exactly what she was doing.
So, do you guys have standout moments for this movie?
It's hard. It's not even really a movie. It's like 3 episodes as fashioned into as a backdoor pilot to a TV series.
Yeah.
It's hard. So as a result, like my standards just changed. Where it's like, if this was released in theaters, it's just like endless. I was talking about like I'll be putting tomatoes out of my ass and putting it in the screen. But as a backdoor TV pilot, honestly, of the time, it came out 1998. That's like. It probably was of, not standard, but probably of network quality television. It was bad. It was quality.
Definitely network quality stuff, because like the CG and the effects available at the time were far and beyond anything that we saw in this movie. But it came off as, very low budget. And it was like, I will say, I had a hard time kind of getting through it, because I was like, man, it just, it wasn't goofy. It wasn't like bad enough that I could like really enjoy it. Yeah, like if it would have been worse or even more over the top, like bad, like I would have like enjoyed it more and like just pointing and laughing at it. But I was like, hey, this is not as funny as I wanted it to.
I mostly found it funny just how many fucking. This movie has every trope of its genre in it, and they're all one after another after another after another. So we start out with like a villain resurrection.
Yeah.
We jump into hero who is no longer a hero, that doesn't want to get back into the game.
A villain resurrection. He doesn't get resurrected at the end.
You know what I mean.
They find his body.
They find his body, yeah.
Which I was like, why are they keeping him alive? Did they mention that? Or why they kept his body around?
They don't. Does the one guy mention...
So she could bring him back.
Yeah.
In China.
The one guy
But it doesn't make sense, because S.H.I.E.L.D. is the one who
I'm saying, why did S.H.I.E.L.D.
keep
his
trying
body?
to make a logical reason for it...
No, I'm just trying to say. Like, I don't know. I was just trying to...
Dumb.
I was waiting for that, because eventually they do say, there's like this really fucked up virus, because that's like the main bad, main, the third... The final act is that the bomb is going to go off, releasing this virus that could like wipe out like 8 states like across the East Coast. I was like, why is he still alive then? If the only place where this virus still is in this guy's specific DNA, who's a villain who they should just have killed on the spot, or just destroyed his body.
Just shoot him in the head.
And if
he's already dead though.
If you're worried about like maybe his body will release the virus, throw him into space. You considering all the shit they did.
Well, okay. But, like, it's every trope, right after another, right on cue.
The angry captain guy?
The angry captain guy. The reluctant hero that's been away. The love interest that's, like, kind of a, it's a, what's the word for it? It's a frayed relationship.
Yeah.
The new guy that kind of sucks, that wants to prove himself to the old guy that's been there for a while.
Yeah. Whose character is Alexander Pierce, by the way? Robert Redford's character in Winter Soldier.
Who's the villain in that movie?
Yeah, but it's funny enough, Alexander Pierce says the same line where he goes, like, the world has changed, Cap. It's the same idea. The world's changing here. Which one did it better?
It's
Who
hard.
can say?
Which one did the helicraft carrier better? It's hard to say. Avengers or this, because I mean that was a pretty good set.
I love that they just have like these enormous like propeller things sticking out. Like 80% of the structure is just what's like keeping it in the air. And then like there's a little like aircraft carrier thing sitting on top of it.
The shot of the aircraft carrier, it had kind of a charm to it to me. I was kind of like, okay.
Is this similar? No, never mind. I was gonna say it's a similar reveal to like the Avengers, where it's like this thing can fly, but it was more just like they part through the clouds, and it's like, whoa, look, there's this giant flying ship in the air, which was cool. Yeah, well, I was like, all right,
I was fine with it. I mean, like,
they're going for a reveal.
They were working on a budget.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, at the time, this is like super high for network television backdoor pilot. So. But then again, why is it a television backdoor pilot? It's like, if you want to... Honestly, they shouldn't have just made it all, but...
Philip, I can tell that you're just defeated even talking about this.
Yeah, it's like, oh gosh, it's like, I kind of wish it was worse. Like, I wish...
I thought it was pretty fucking bad. I think Jason.
Yeah,
you agree with me.
I thought it was
You guys,
bad.
you guys are gonna murder me, but I honestly had a bit easier time getting through this than I did for Top Secret, just because of how awful it was.
How dare you?
Anytime the girl was on screen yelling and
Indiana
screaming,
Jones hating bitch. I'm just kidding.
anytime the girl was on screen yelling, David Hasselhoff just doing these terrible one-liners. It's funny. It's
So-
really funny to me.
This one did make it to TV, right? Like this got
it got made it to TV.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was on Fox.
Interesting. Oh, do you know what the reception was like when it came out?
It was shitty.
Like,
Well,
okay,
it is.
surprise.
It is pretty bad. But I don't know. It's got that. It's almost to me got that bad movie charm, like watching Trolls 2. It's not as fucking as an experience as that, but
No.
it's got that bad movie charm. It's not the like ultimate bad movie or anything, but I think that if you wanted to get a couple friends together and just like drink and watch a movie that's really bad, this would be acceptable. Watching David Hasselhoff just say fucking terrible one-liners for an hour and a half was pretty funny to me.
I do agree. I wish I was inebriated while watching this movie.
I was.
I could say that about both movies, honestly. Like I could get like, you know, have a good time with both if I'm you know, my consciousness like slips back. Like, no,
I think even if I was inebriated, I probably wouldn't enjoy this. Because it's just like, it's not that. I mean, it's bad. It's awful. But it's not like so bad it's good type. It's not Birdemic bad, you know?
Yeah, I think what makes like a really good bad movie is when there is that kind of passion behind it.
Like Neil
Yeah.
Breen.
Yeah, like Neil
Yes,
Breen.
Neil Breen,
He's
yes.
the classic example of like
I Am Here.
or Tommy
Or
Wiseau.
Time Wiseau,
Yeah, they like
Wow.
they put a ton of effort into this. They thought they were making a good movie. They're like going for it, and it's just awful.
Well, in this example, they believed that this was their opening to a television series.
Yeah.
I have to believe that someone in charge was trying to make a good product. How the fuck did this get released? How did nobody in the editing
No,
room...
this is up to their standards. At the time, there's a lot of bad shit that was on 90s television is some of the worst network
specifically
television.
Fox too. Fox was
Yes.
like struggling a lot. All they had was X-Files and The Simpsons. That was
God,
keeping the whole
Simpsons
network.
references.
Yeah, well, that was keeping the network afloat, and they were like, we need something else. Like, can we get something? So they were there. I mean, Fox has a long line of good shows that kind of started up and then they canceled because they couldn't handle the pressure of it, like just not
Performing.
not being successful at all. Yeah, I mean, we go down that list. Like, I would say something like Firefly. Great
Yeah.
example of like doing with what they budget that they had at the time and like just making it work. But again, canceled too soon. Far too soon.
One season, right?
Yeah,
Yep,
one season.
and then
It's like
Serenity
14
wrap up
episodes.
People are
film.
still mad about that.
Yeah, go watch Firefly and then Serenity.
Yes.
It's all desert.
It is.
Oh,
That
it's
is like
another desert planet.
Desert
Yeah.
space.
look, like
No,
everything.
they go to some other places too in the thing.
Yeah,
they did some.
Most
Most
of
say
them.
space western, right? So I forgive it for that.
Yeah, like I mean, they were going a lot for.
It's fine. That wasn't
Post-Civil
an actual
War era.
criticism. That was more of a joke. So my next point, this might be because, okay, if the point of this podcast is critical analysis, it's pretty fucking hard to apply any of it to this, but here's an attempt. I had a problem with the virus plot where, so Nick Fury gets infected with the virus. That's like the big threat of the movie. And he's going to die in, is it 2 days? 48 hours?
No, he gets the venom.
48
Or
hours.
the venom. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
he
venom
gets-
from.
He gets kissed from is it Andrea von Strucker?
Yeah.
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 He gets kissed
Viper.
from her.
Who
and now,
somehow is also the Viper character, which is two separate things, but oh god.
Yeah.
Point being, he gets 48 hours to live unless he can get an antidote. My problem with this is, why didn't she just fucking kill him? In the moment, then you don't have to deal with Nick Fury. And I want to compare this to something a little bit out
She
there.
wants him to suffer.
I want to compare this movie to a video game. Batman Arkham City. Philip knows where I'm
Yes,
going
I
with
know where
this.
you're going.
Do you, Jason?
Maybe.
How many of you guys actually played by Arkham City?
I have.
Fucking
I did.
awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is great.
That's actually the only of the Arkham games I've played.
Same.
Which
Whoa.
I know. I want to play Asylum and then what is it?
No.
No.
No, do you not remember the one? I gave it for your birthday.
Which is the order? Which is the order?
For your birthday,
It's
Ron.
Asylum,
Asylum
City,
City.
City.
and then Night.
Oh, Night. Oh no. Actually, I take that back. Then I've only played.
Didn't they do 4 of them
Arkham
though?
Knight.
There were
There was that doesn't count. Origins is not made by.
Okay.
Origins is not made by.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Arkham Knight, which is why I've always heard that like Arkham City and Arkham Asylum are really good. So I want to play those again too.
Yeah.
I want to play those for the first time, but yeah.
Arkham City
Anyway.
is fucking dope.
Back to your
Anyways,
point.
the main driving
Just
plot of Arkham City is that the Joker has like this. I'm probably gonna butcher this. It's been like 10 years since I played the game, but it's more or less that the Joker has like some weird virus or poison in him that's rapidly killing him. He's like, when you see him, he's all fucked up. So his goal is he poisons Batman with that and says, hey, now you're infected with this. You need to find a cure so that we can both live. And then Batman's like, well, fuck you. We'll both just die. And he's like, oh, well, I've poisoned the whole city, so you better get on it. So but the reason I'm bringing this up is there is a point that the Joker leaves him alive. Also, you can get into the Batman and Joker. That's a whole other can of worms. But it's a reason, you know what I'm saying? There's a purpose for the character being given a time frame and a poison.
Oh, you're saying in this one?
In this one, she gives him a time frame
For no reason.
For no reason, and it just fucks her over. Like, if she had just shot him, just shoot him in the head. Now you don't have to deal with Nick Fury.
There's a part where, she's like, leave him.
Yeah.
He's dead anyway. And it's like, no, he's
just
still alive.
shoot him in the head.
He's got a chance. You know, S.H.I.E.L.D. is this, like, giant agency that could probably, make a cure or something.
Yeah.
Which they do.
Did she have a gun when she kissed him?
I don't know.
I don't
Did they
remember.
establish
She
that
can
fact?
get a gun.
Yeah, she can get a gun. But
She can get a gun.
So.
Choke him to death. I don't know.
Who
Do
knows?
something.
Maybe like in the future seasons they had a plan where they have this weird, like, kind of antagonistic
It's
sexual
just-
tension relationship.
It's just very contrived, and I understand that this wasn't exactly a work of art or anything, but it still annoys me.
Another thing about the virus plot was, so there's that woman who has the ability to read minds, right?
Spurs.
And so she mind reads Zola, right?
Yeah.
And she sees what will happen if they release the virus. And it's just like Manhattan is nuked. And it's just like, why even have the virus if everyone's gonna die anyway? Doesn't make any sense to me. It's stupid.
Dr. Zola's death is fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah.
I don't even remember him dying.
I know.
There's a setup early on that if anybody tries to use Nick Fury's gun, it'll backfire on them.
Oh,
And,
right.
In the whole movie, you're waiting, like, okay, who's gonna do that? Obviously. But I assumed that it would shoot a bullet backwards.
Yeah.
But instead it shoots electricity, and Dr. Zola, who is ridden into a wheelchair, flies off of, like, the set, and you see him falling. It was actually really funny.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was weird. It's funny seeing, like, the characters in this show, movie, whatever, like, compared to the MCU characters. I was like, that's Alexander Pierce, like, that horrible character. And then, Zola, Strucker, who has, like, he's, like, 10 seconds of like, actual, like, speaking lines in the Avengers movie, Age of Ultron. But even then, he has more of a presence than this fucking guy.
And Viper. Remember Viper in the Wolverine?
Is she in the Wolverine?
No, the Viper's in the Wolverine. She's the one who gave the poison.
Fuck yeah. I forgot about that.
But she's now combined with the Andrea von Strucker character.
Weird.
For some reason.
So Ronald, you have a lot of comic book knowledge. I do not, so I do have to ask you.
Yeah.
Does this do justice for Nick Fury as a character?
It really does. It really captures that. No, not at all. I'm very serious. No,
Well,
Nick Fury is like a former. Fuck, I may get this wrong. Sorry if I do. Nick Fury's not like, I don't know that much about Nick Fury, but I know that he was like a former Ranger, I believe. He's like a fucking special ops guy. He has a whole history. He's a really badass soldier. So they capture that, like, in essence, I suppose, that he's this guy that, like, they pull out of retirement, or he's like this former dude who does things his own way, right? Because that's a big part of him too. So they kind of got that part right, and then besides that, no.
What about the rest of the S.H.I.E.L.D. characters? Are these all, like, actual characters?
No.
From the
Agent
lore?
Contessa Valentina Val Allegra de Fontaine. No. No. They even just... I
Are
don't
these
want
real characters from, like, the comic?
Yeah.
books?
She was just recently in... she's a big a recurring comic book in the S.H.I.E.L.D. storylines. And on top of that, she's a recurring... sometimes ally, sometimes frenemy, sometimes just enemy to Nick Fury. She just recently popped up in what's it called? Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the Disney Plus series. I won't say who plays her. What's it called? Just
who plays her?
I'm not telling. Go watch it. What's it called?
Who plays her?
what's it called? When you guys see it, it'll
Do they bring this actress back?
That'd be great. She's hot. I'm just kidding. But yeah, she's not really. They don't. She's a duplicitous character, and they don't really show that in this one.
I mean, I think like there's a thing too. Like there's two different kinds of Nick Fury. There's like in the early 2000s when they rebooted him in Sam Jackson's like image, he kind of becomes a slightly different character. But like, yeah, like he's more like he's the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. He's kind of like more he pushes the S.H.I.E.L.D. agenda. He's a more of a hardline guy. He does kind of do things his own way or whatever, but he is still like very much like a part of like he's the kind of the physical like embodiment of S.H.I.E.L.D. In this, he's not. He kind of just works like around S.H.I.E.L.D. and kind of with S.H.I.E.L.D. a little bit. Like he's like I don't know. They went more that like Rambo route maybe.
Yeah, well, I feel like if the series was actually made, he would have been actively working with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
he feels like a shitty version of Snake Plissken from
That's
Yeah.
a good. Yeah,
deliberately what they're trying to go for.
they saw the eye patch and they're like, yeah, let's just do Snake.
Real quick, one thing about the eye patch. Why is he wearing it? He has a fucking eye under there.
Oh, he's a
And-
prosthetic one, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he had a fake eye. Why wear the eye patch?
Yeah,
For the character.
yeah.
And then
I
he
mean,
uses it to like blow up a door or something.
Yeah. I like when he pulls it out and it's like Hasselhoff and he's like, he's pulling it out like it's like supposed to be painful, and then he's like, don't worry, it's a fake or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's plastic, and then he puts a little bomb. But I like this. It felt so awkward. Like the other actors are just looking at him and they're just like, what's happening? It was cool. That was one of the parts that actually made me laugh.
My only sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, because I wasn't sure if this was like a proper representation of Nick Fury, because my only exposure to him has been Samuel Jackson and the '90s cartoon version of him in the Spider-Man show.
Yeah, in the Spider-Man show, he's even he's in like X-Men Evolution. He's like the X-Men show. He's around. Yeah.
Jason, what were you?
I forget what I was gonna say. I was gonna say another shitty moment that made me laugh really hard was when, at the end when he's fighting Von Strucker or whatever her name is, and she shoots him and he dies, and then he like pops up again somewhere else, and he's like, "That was a fake model of me." Where'd you get that?
Oh my god, I was just about to
Where'd
bring
you get
that
that?
up.
They did
How'd you bring
establish it early
Yeah,
on.
but like,
How the
was
fuck-
it in his pocket?
Yeah, I
like,
don't know.
how do you
That
bring it?
I was just gonna bring that up because he's fighting with her. Can the fake model fight with her?
Well, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
they
I
established
guess.
that it like
But how
copies his
long?
movements.
How
It-
long have we been following fake Nick Fury then?
I like
That's the
how.
thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Doesn't fucking make sense. Damn it. Fuck.
I liked when they had.
How
it-
did he get it there? Like, that's my main question.
Yeah, at one point he swapped out with it. That would have been like a funny plot line to just. I thought it was gonna be a plot line with him. Like maybe they're like, and bring your clone along for some reason. I don't know, and just him.
Oh,
like,
having two of them?
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Is that why? Is that why he's somehow the effects of the poison doesn't really affect him in the last
yeah, he
story?
seems fine.
Yeah, he seems fine, and then he's not fine,
Well,
and
it's,
then...
it's very wishy-washy because there is a moment where he kind of falls to his knees for a second and goes, "Oh, I feel kind of sick." But then there's also the moment where they're in like the freezer unit or something, and he's like, "This made my temperature better," and I'm like, I don't know if that's how it works.
Oh, maybe that's how he had the fake eye.
He seems
It was the fake model of him.
maybe he seems to get worse and worse. Like he's like dozing off as they're like driving the spaceship or whatever.
Just driving.
But then like he's pretty much okay for the action, and then towards the end, like when they're it's 6 not 9, they're like he seems fucking fine,
Yeah.
and he really hasn't gotten the thing yet, so I don't know.
I think that's just adrenaline.
you could just say that this is bad writing, maybe. Who knows?
I also love how all the henchmen
David
have
Goyer.
like black mass over them, so they could just reuse the same stuntmen
Yeah.
over the times of saving budget.
Yeah, or it was the guys that looked...
the
they look
gray-
like fucking war boys
the
from...
gray guys.
I mean, they're not that different from the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in like, what is it, First Avenger, right? When they just have like these basic like oxygen masks things over their heads. They're kind of these faceless
That should make at least more
people.
sense.
Yeah. I mean, there it does. Later on, I guess because the purpose of Hydra's changes when they're trying to be more incognito and like that was cool too when they're just like you can't differentiate them from the agents, or S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. That's cool. But yeah, no, this one was Yeah.
Why did the Hydra people they're like silver dudes?
I don't know.
It's very. I thought that was gonna be like I was okay.
Oh yeah, the fucking silver gray.
Yeah, they
people.
look like
Who the
war
fuck
boys.
Are they? Did they do anything? I don't even remember.
No, they're just there.
I thought that because they introduced one in the scene where what's the villain's name?
Andrea von
when
Strucker.
Andrea von whatever when she like murders a guy for questioning her authority very early on. And there's just a gray dude hanging out with them. And I remember thinking, oh, okay, this guy's going to be like a supervillain or something.
It's Tombstone.
Yeah.
It's Tombstone. Can we get Tombstone in a live-action movie, please?
Yeah, he'll be around eventually.
Who's in charge of Spider-Man right now?
I don't even know.
Philip, you probably know.
Something Webb was doing them.
No, that was the Andrew Garfield
Yeah,
movies.
Wait, are you talking about who's directing?
yeah.
Yeah, who's directing all the Spider-Man movies right now?
Oh, what's it called? I forgot.
Well-
It's the same guy. He did Cop Car. I'll look it up.
Cop car?
That's the name of a movie.
Let's see. Fact checking. Clickety clackety clickety.
Sorry.
John Watts.
John
I
Watts?
remember
John
Oh,
Watts.
John Watts.
It's probably too
He's
late.
also directing the next Fantastic Four film.
John Watts, it's probably too late for No Way Home, but in the next Spider-Man movie, Tombstone for the main villain.
Oh, and
The fucking
you know,
main villain.
and you know what? Bring Hammerhead too. You know?
Tombstone is like the worst villain of all time.
Hammerhead.
I used to remember beating him so many times on the Game Boy Spider-Man games and then the PS1 Spider-Man games.
He's a villain with a big head.
I think
This is a
that
guy.
there should have been a shocking reveal in Endgame that Thanos actually answers to Tombstone. Do you know who Tombstone is, Jason?
Nope.
It's one of the worst Spider-Man villains. He's just a big guy that has gray skin, and he beats up Aunt May at one
Yeah,
point.
I totally thought that they were gonna be a thing. Like they were gonna be like mini bosses or something that were gonna go against Nick Fury, like something like that. No, they were just there. I don't even know. They could be actual characters.
Do we
but who
see a
knows?
scene where Nick Fury even really fights one? Like,
I don't know. If you know the name of those characters, please let us know. Write it down. Let us know in the comments. 'Cause I have no idea who that is.
maybe that was just they were like, we got to make this more comic booky. Just paint those guys gray.
Yeah.
That could have happened.
I thought they were gonna be like the.
I thought they were gonna have super. I initially thought there was only one of them. When you see the one guy and he's wearing like a full suit and he's got gray skin, I was like, okay, this could be.
Yeah, I thought they were like androids at a certain point. I was like, what are these dudes?
They should have been like
They were
the-
distracting.
the guys with the dreadlock guys from
Because it had such
the
an
Matrix.
engaging plot.
They just phase through things.
This movie had such an engaging plot that they were distracting you from. What do you guys think the TV show would have been like had it been made?
I think it would have been wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, well, it would be a lower budget for sure because they put all this money into the first episode and after that, just use the sets and.
So we would just be
Same
following
thing.
the resurrected villain.
Yeah, they were just the same 3 sets.
Yeah, they
every
had the
episode.
same. They had the set for what's it called? The actual hovercraft, the helicarrier. They were inside there a few times or a lot, and then they went to the warehouse. They went to the storm drain, the mining thing, and I like that the warehouse where Hydra's base is. It just looks like super grimy and worn out. Like
Yeah.
this is Hydra's base, I guess, because they're coming back from like the dead, maybe. But like, man, this is pretty bad. Guys can't afford a better place than this. Can't rent a condo.
On another note, do you like how casual the president is about like losing Manhattan?
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah.
like, oh, what are you guys gonna do about it? He feels very unpanicked about this.
Yeah, and they tell the president, you can't let this get out. He's like, yeah, well, all right.
So it's a
He's
Terry.
like, if we fuck up, we're gonna lose like the entire East Coast, like all the way to Ohio. And he's like, well, okay, yeah, that
Yeah.
sounds pretty bad.
Good luck.
Also, he's credited as just the president, which I found kind of funny. No name, just the president. I wonder if he would have been like a series recurring character in the TV show. He might have been.
Just a president that doesn't give a fuck about anything.
How can Nick Fury
Yeah.
just punch like the director in the face at the end without any
Yeah,
consequences?
he's like, you're coming up for insubordination, this and that, like disobeying authority. It's like you forgot one thing. Fuck, what does he say? Like, trying to do like bodily harm.
Grievous bodily injury or
And
something
then,
like that.
pops him in the face. He says another one line and then he drops.
I don't think David Hasselhoff's face changes the entire movie.
No.
He's got the same face and same voice throughout all of it. How did you guys not enjoy watching this? It's so fucking bad.
Like I said, if I was drunk, I probably would have had a good time.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Philip gets offended by shit like this, and that's good. You should.
It's so mediocre, and it's not even.
Is it fair to call this anti-art?
You could go.
No, bad art is still art. You know, what I mean? This is bad art.
But this
Yeah.
is like a cash grab. Definitely. This was them trying to get something started.
Like, if,
was anybody passionate on set for this?
like if David Goyer, like you're saying,
Andrea von Strucker.
yeah. Like if you're saying, like if they went to try and do this more campy, they wanted to go that route, it would have been way more enjoyable for me. Like the 66 Batman show, they knew exactly what kind of show they were making, and they leaned into it. And that's where like the ridiculous, shark spray and the running with the bomb and like the nuns on the pier kind of stuff like happens. Because that's like they knew what they were making. If they'd done a little more like that, that'd been cool. But it felt like they were trying to be serious about it, but at the same time they're like being goofy about it, and it just came out as just a mess, just a jumbled mess.
Yeah, this is like a Lifetime movie version of Nick Fury.
Yeah.
how would you guys fix this movie?
By not making it. I literally erased it from existence.
I would ham up I would have kept David Hasselhoff because he's the
Yeah.
best part of the movie. I kept like most of the actors, honestly. Maybe like one or two like more like actual serious actors like to like handle like some of the like more deadpan stuff, and then just again amp up that goofiness. Just make it more over the top.
But
Doesn't
Nick
have to
Fury,
go full parody.
Yeah, there
mode.
wasn't enough action for me. Like, I wish there was more action.
Yeah, right.
Well, they couldn't afford it. You
Yeah,
know,
the
they
action
literally
issue is
couldn't.
really terrible too.
But the thing is, but Nick Fury isn't a Shield, like at least based on the source material, should not be a campy fucking TV series. It shouldn't be.
No.
Like if they were just make something else a campy series. Like if you were actually gonna, like they shouldn't.
Even I would have enjoyed more of the Captain America show. The was in the 70s, the
Oh my gosh,
super
yeah.
goofy one where he's like on his motorbike and
The show or the
There's a
90s?
movie.
There's
Is
a
it the 90s?
1990
It's a movie,
Captain
right?
America movie.
Where
Yeah,
he steals a car, right?
yeah, like twice.
and he fights like the most ridiculous looking Red Skull ever.
Yeah.
That's great.
I wanted like a Red Skull in this. I wanted a terrible makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been.
That's what I was expecting from Von Strucker when they found his body. I was like, he looked all mangled, like, kind of decomposing a bit. Like, I want to see him come back and just be like this. Strucker.
Well,
But-
maybe they'll do a continuation eventually.
Yeah, they'll
Yeah,
pick up
bring
on
it
this now,
back.
30 years later.
David S. Goyer, bring it back.
The Goyer cut.
Release the Goyer cut, please.
the guy who directed Blade Trinity.
What would you guys do?
Did he direct Blade Trinity?
Directed Blade Trinity. David S.
David,
Goyer.
really?
Yeah.
That makes sense because fuck
He wrote
that.
all those movies too, right?
Yeah, I think he's like decent at like pulling source material.
Didn't he write
And-
Batman v Superman?
He's
Yeah.
he's one of the writers.
Yes, he's the one who wrote the basic story structure and outline, and Chris Terrio took it and was like, "Fuck,
No.
what can I do with this?" And he
And
tried
then
to
Chris
salvage it
Terrio went on to write Rise of
He-
Skywalker
with J.J. Abrams.
with J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, well, I contest that anything Chris Terrio writes completely by himself, I like, which is Argo and Justice League, Zack Snyder's cut.
Who is this? David Lindelof?
Yeah, it's pretty much.
No, it's like I think. Sorry, I didn't even know what I was gonna say there.
So, what was your guys' favorite shot?
Is there? I guess that one shot where like when Nick Fury was in the cave and they were like banging against his like weird wooden shack of a door, and there was like key light shining through.
Yeah.
I guess.
I was gonna say actually just that the part where he's in the cave and then like the light is like shimmering on him in his face and it's like looks kind of dramatic. And he looks like he's like, and he comes out and he's like, what do we want, right? Like, I'm retired or whatever. And I was enjoying that part. I was
that fooled me into thinking, oh, do they care?
Yeah.
And then really no. Yeah.
That guy like comes in and you're made to think like this guy's coming to kill Nick Fury, and so like I thought, oh, he's gonna be all stealthy and like try to like surprise him with an attack, and then he just lights up a
That's a
cigar.
cigar,
And
yeah.
you're just like, bro, like if you're gonna be chased, that's the last thing you want to do. I
Well,
don't
Nick
know.
Fury has a cigar in
He's
his
an
mouth the
idiot.
whole movie.
Yeah.
And they're like really little cigars. Is Nick Fury
Snake
smokes-
Plissken. Snake Plissken always smokes too.
yeah.
Yeah.
He quit smoking.
That's so
hard.
funny.
Yeah,
I didn't see
He
Yeah.
quit smoking.
Okay.
He takes the Cuban cigar. He's like, I quit, and it's just like,
Like,
go give
what?
it back.
That's like one of your defining traits. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna take it out. Gosh.
This was a bad week for cinematography because as much as you guys like Top Secret, there's not a lot of.
Well, yeah, there's
No,
definitely not. There's no focus on.
kinda
this.
flat.
Yeah, it's flat, but like on purpose because you get to
Yeah.
just play with what's in the frame.
Yeah.
And you want to see everything in the frame
Yeah.
because it's a spoof comedy.
This was a bad
you know
week
what
for cinematography.
I wouldn't say it's bad though.
No, it's not bad, it's
not top
purposeful.
secret. Yeah,
No.
there's a difference. I think
I mean?
with
Yeah. And also the actual framing is pretty good. In
Well,
Top
yeah,
Secret.
It's
I mean
like
it's
what Ron
crucial
said.
to the
Yeah, it's
jokes.
just-
It's more so that they're trying to do those visual gags.
Yeah.
Nick Fury, they should have just pitched it as a parody movie. Maybe people would have really liked it.
Yeah, but again, I think what like Philip said, but being Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it doesn't really lend itself unless they did like the over the top joke of like the seriousness and like the kind of like straight back like agents and like working on this like really goofy environment. But I don't know, even then it reminds me of like what is it, like the Marvel Land or whatever in like California Adventures. I hate that it's all based around like a S.H.I.E.L.D.
campus?
Yeah, the Avengers campus, the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters shit. Like what talk about
Why?
the most boring
Yeah.
part of the Marvel universe. Like I'd rather see the inside of the Guardians ship. I'd rather go to like Ego's
Asgard.
planet. Yeah, see parts of Asgard. Like really, you see some
Wakanda.
gray cement. Yeah, like why do that? But yeah, anyway.
Probably in Disney World, in the more.
Yeah, they're like fuck that. It's gonna be expensive as hell.
Yeah, have you seen the robotic like Spider-Man?
No, I've not.
Yeah,
It is really cool, dude. Like they have like Spider-Man like slinging around, and it looks real, like it looks legit, and it's
But if it
robot.
breaks, it's like this giant ton.
Yeah, I don't think they let it go over anywhere where people are going to be walking.
I think there's a whole thing about Disneyland. Like people are like getting frustrated because like they only want to go to the campus, but then when they go, they can't reserve it until day of, and they just can't go, and they don't do refunds and no yearly pass.
That's lame. Although I heard that they're gonna open up the yearly pass, or no, it's gonna be
it's
like a
called membership
subscription
program
thing.
Oh gosh,
Bitches, everything's gonna be.
Disneyland sucks.
Disneyland
Yeah.
does not suck.
no.
I
love Disneyland.
don't get the appeal for adults to go to Disneyland.
I disagree. I
No.
think it's
You're
so-
you're going to a theme park that's hailing a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I just don't find it fun. It's
But
just like
There's nothing. I'm not going to Disneyland because I love Disney the corporation so much. I love it because it's immersive. Like it's
Oh, yeah.
it's easily the most
I don't
immersive.
like I'm not a theme
park
park guy. I'm not a
place.
theme park guy.
Well, then there
I like
it is.
roller
Yeah,
coasters.
there it is.
And I like roller coasters, and Disneyland has the worst roller coasters.
No
Right.
way.
No, wait, but Disneyland.
They're the least like.
Okay, are
Thrilling.
you talking
Yeah.
about the
Okay.
least thrilling? I agree
Yeah.
with that. But the whole point of that is they're trying to immerse you into the world, like the Pirates of the
Yeah.
Caribbean.
Yeah, well,
It's
like,
not meant to.
I
Watch
yeah,
the Pirates of the fucking Caribbean.
I love what, but it's totally different to go down
I know.
and like riding around and
Yeah.
seeing the pirates and shit. Like,
And they
that's
got
fun.
rid of Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which was the best ride at Disneyland.
Didn't a kid die on that or something?
Yeah.
I think somebody
That really
died.
happened?
Yeah, I mean, a bunch of
Recently?
people have
Yeah,
died.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
not in that. Not recently. It's been a
Yeah.
while,
I
but
thought
like
maybe
a
that's
bunch of
why it
people
shut
have
down.
died at Disneyland. That's a
Yeah.
whole thing.
Like the teacup's not meant to be exciting, but the idea of being inside the teacup spinning, that's
Eh,
kind of
thrilling.
Like, it's not
Wow.
my favorite,
Okay,
but as
for
a
me-
kid,
If you're talking about like just straight up roller coasters, like Space Mountain, Big Thunder Mountain, and then to a lesser degree, I'd say like what is
Knott's.
it? No, the what's the one with the drop?
Oh,
Is it
the log ride?
The,
log ride
no,
thing?
It's not
yeah,
called
the log
log
ride
ride.
thing, but like at Disneyland. Yeah, I like those.
Splash
those are like
Mountain.
fun. Yeah, Splash,
Splash
Mountain.
Mountain.
Oh, even Indiana Jones. That's like a super
Yes,
fun.
the
Indiana Jones is
Matterhorn. The
fantastic.
Matterhorn's not
Oh,
bad.
Matterhorn too. Yeah,
Yeah, Star Tours before they put
Yeah,
the
Star
sequels
Tours
into
was
it.
fun.
it's gonna be funny
Was fun.
in the future when people are like, "Why isn't this in the Star Wars land?"
Yeah.
like it used
I
to
miss
be.
the Michael Jackson thing. I miss it.
What's the
I never saw
Jackson
that.
thing?
Oh, I used to do that all the time.
It's a 3D film, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like-
I remember that.
But it was like legit 3D, not the bullshit they have in theaters.
Something Evo was it?
Yeah, it was like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Terminator thing at Universal
Oh
Studios.
yeah.
Okay,
That
well,
was cool.
let's get back to Agents
Sorry.
of S.H.I.E.L.D.
More
Just
interesting.
derailed
I'm just
into the it's the theme park.
Well, this movie's so uninteresting that
Stuff.
we have to talk about Disneyland.
Exactly. I do feel that way. I'm like all spent up.
Well,
It's like, what
you guys-
cinematography is there? It's like, it's just basic TV. There's one cool shot with like the light and the shadow, but everything is flat after that. They have no key light. They have no fill light. Everything is key light. Everything is fill light. And what the fuck? And then you get into the acting. Honestly, there's only two people that are memorable: David Hasselhoff, Sandra Hess. You know what I mean? And she's going, and it was cool. You know what I mean? I was like, oh wow,
No, she was great.
If she was
I
on
love
a
her.
Tinder app, I'll be like, definitely swipe right. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then David Hasselhoff was, he understood what he was. He understood that it's just like, it's a paycheck. I'm gonna have fun. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be my, what's it called? He should have been in slow-mo at one point.
Yeah.
Well, do you guys have anything else to say about Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
It sucks.
And then, oh gosh, I just can't.
I had fun watching it. It's a bad movie.
Should we give our ratings, or unless anybody has any more
Shit bucket.
intricate points? Yeah. Okay, so Philip, we have your rating.
Shit bucket.
Ronald,
Shit bucket for sure.
Yeah,
Jason?
shit bucket, but it is fun.
Yeah, you know, if anything, it'll be the ignored shit on the shit bucket. I would look at other shit like There's a Room or like Birdemic or whatever, right?
When you're sifting through the bucket.
Yeah, I'm just like, I admire this shit. I'm holding on to it. I'm caressing it. This shit wasn't like I have fond memories. This shit's like where it's a little like poo speck off the top of my ass with a little bit of like, you know, like I just like it's stuck somewhere.
So you guys want to eat dinner? Well, my rating would be, for the wrong reason, I might just put it in the museum.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes,
the
I'm
fuck
fucking
up.
around.
Oh,
I'm fucking
God.
around, I'm fucking around. It goes in this shit bucket, of course.
Oh.
But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I thought it was anti-art. It's kind of disgusting, terrible, awful. But I really liked David Hasselhoff. He was fucking hilarious. The girl was fucking hilarious. I thought it was a pretty good time. I think if you want to get really, really drunk and watch a movie, this shouldn't be your first choice, but it's up there.
Yeah, no, I think there are like so many other movies, bad movies that I would watch, like any of the Leprechaun movies.
Well, yeah, but like, given how big Marvel is, there's a lot of people who might want to see
true.
something like this.
Better than Endgame.
Oh gosh, please.
That was
Please.
a joke.
Do not trigger me like this.
So I guess that's a wrap, boys.
All right.
Stay tuned for next week when we talk about not Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
And not Top Secret, because we literally just talked about them.
I think that we could turn this into a week-to-week Nick Fury podcast where we just talk about this movie.
Break down every frame per
Yeah,
episode.
why not?
All right, let's wrap this up. All right, guys, if you liked either of these movies, let us know. If you're, for whatever reason, you preferred one over the other. Please, I want to know why.
Yeah. And if you would like hearing us week to week, like and subscribe. We are
Smash that like button.
Yeah, smash it up.
Smash it.
And hit the little bell to get notifications, so that way you're more likely to see it, because everyone subscribes to a shitload of stuff now.
Shut the fuck up.
Smash it. All right. Goodbye. I love you.
Later.
I love you.